Cause I'm already drunk. Hi, welcome back to Boozy Talk with me, your host, Boozy Bitch, and my sidekick, my road dog, my best friend, Midnight, and my bartender when I'm not bartending. And what has he brought for me tonight? Let's see. He has brought for me the Pump and Glory. This is another cocktail that was made at the restaurant Pump that Lisa Vanderpump used to own, but is now closed. It's not a pumptini, but it's really good. It's really refreshing. So go over to my other page, Boozy Bitch, and learn how to make it. It's really, really good. And then come back here and let's get into it, because this is the second part of the reunion, Vanderpump Rules season 12 with the new cast and everything. And then this is it, guys. That's going to be it for this season. But Little Birdie told me that they renewed it. Okay, and that they're filming right now. But now I'm hearing that maybe they're not going to renew it, or maybe it's just paused because, you know, Lisa Vanderpump is very, very busy, honey. Okay, darling? She's got like 80 million restaurants going on, darling. All right, sweetheart? So she's got Vegas coming out. She has a new hotel in Vegas coming out. So they have like a Sir Rules Las Vegas. So I don't know if that's going to be the next Sir Rules or it's just going to be a spinoff. I have no idea. But all I know is it's on pause. It's not canceled, but I don't know. ChatGPT said it's renewed, and they said they started filming in April. So I don't know who's lying and who's right. Who knows? But anyway, I hope they renew it for another season because I hated it in the beginning. I was not for it. But then I invested all my time and energy into it, and then I actually really started to like it. So, well, I wouldn't say really started to like it. Let me backtrack there. I liked it, okay? And I got invested in the people, you know, in the cast. And so, actually, stay tuned for the end of this because I am going to do a cast recap, okay? So stay tuned for that. That's actually going to be in the same video. Okay, I was going to make a separate video, but it got too long. And so I was like, all right, honey, you got to cut this down. So I decided to put it in this video. So stay tuned for that. That's going to be at the end, okay? All right, so sit back, grab your cocktail, and let's get into the Vanderpump Rules reunion part 2. All right, and then come back here afterwards and join me after, all right? Cheers, guys. Hi, the bar is open. What are you drinking? Because I'm already trashed. And that's because we're finally at the end, guys. Like the end. This is it. We are the last of the Mohegans. Yes, we made it. Okay, so grab your Pump and Glories or whatever it is that you're drinking. Let's just get right into it. Here we go with the Vanderpump Rules Season 12 Reunion Part 2. Let's go. Okay, so where we left off was basically Audrey was telling Angelica to eat shit and die. And that was because she was getting death threats online for basically slut-shaming her. Or homie hopping, as Audrey puts it. Which really means, I guess, that she's just going from one guy to another on the cast. Quickly. And then Andy's like, well, Audrey, why are you getting death threats, though? And who are they coming from? From Angelica. Her little friends on Instagram. Yeah, and then she liked a post where somebody was basically threatening my life. So I sent a post back that said, and stay mad, duh. Yeah, well, I received death threats too, okay, Audrey? You weren't the only one. They were coming from your people, bitch, okay? Or whatever, your little fans, okay? Well, Angelica, is it fair to say that the beef really started when you told, at the photo shoot, when you told Lisa that Jason uses a penis pump? Yes, exactly. Why would you do that? Yes, that was a bit weird, darling, really.
Were you trying to embarrass him in front of his boss, I guess?
He's got OnlyFans. Yeah? And he uses a penis pump. Do you know what that is? Is what?
And oh no, here we go again. Are we really going to talk about the penis pump once again? And then Andy, of course, is like, so Lisa, Let me ask you once more. So you mean to tell me you've never heard of a penis pump before this? Well, no, darling. Now, why would I have heard of something like that? Well, no, I've never heard of it, right? But I have a little secret that I'd like to share with you. Ken and I, once a long time ago, we went to a party one night. And skirt! No, that's okay, Lisa. No. And so, Dawson, can you explain to Lisa one more time, like, why you use it? Yeah, all right. So, it goes like this, right? So when I'm on OnlyFans, right, I take a couple of nudes, right? Or, I'm in my underwears, right? And so I gotta look a little bigger. You know what I'm saying? So I just do a couple of pumps and then I get it a little bit bigger and it's good for the photographs. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, it just gets like a little extra blood in there, That's all I'm saying, Andy. You know what I mean? Yeah, it's called a cock ring. Couldn't you just use one of those? No, you can't use those, Andy. I used one of them one time. I almost broke my dick off. And so, Jason, between the penis pump and the dildo, did you say you also owned a rubber ass? And look at Lisa losing her mind. What was that, darling? Oh, yeah, my rubber ass, yeah. Well, I use it for the pictures sometimes, Andy, Yeah, my cousin's got a little ass, you know what I mean? Yeah, that's great. And so, Angelica, I heard that, you obviously had a lot to say about Jason's penis pump, but I hear that you actually did an erectile dysfunction commercial? Yes, I did. It was 4 years ago, and it was for Viagra. It also played internationally, and I made a lot of money. Okay, so Audrey, actually the real reason why we're all having this conversation about a penis pump is because you told Angelica. That was in confidence, Andy. I was at her house and we were having girl time. And then Kim interjects, yeah, but you're on a television show, Audrey, okay? And there's at least 7 or 8 or maybe 9 cameras, okay? There's one over there and then there's one over there. So you knew, I mean, the thing is, Audrey, is that if you hadn't have said anything, nobody would have known. Okay, well, I didn't expect her to blurt it out to our boss in the middle of a photo shoot. Yeah, see, I got a problem with that, too. You know what I mean? Why you gotta tell my boss that I got a penis pump, huh? Yeah, I know. I just thought it was a funny joke, and I thought that since it was your girlfriend at the time that told me that you'd be okay with it. So, Angelica, do you think that you owe Audrey an apology? Yeah, I'm sorry, Audrey, that I told everybody about your boyfriend's penis pump, okay? He's not my boyfriend. Yeah, apology not accepted. And then Andy switches the focus over to Shane, and he's like, well, you're the only cast member that doesn't work at SUR, but you're still on Lisa's payroll. How you doing, Shane? Everything good? Yeah, how you doing, Andy? Good. I can't complain, I can't complain. And you know what, Shane? It's if the movie business doesn't work out and your modeling is, in the past, you might want to consider actually working at SUR. You never know. How much does Lisa pay anyway? I'm just curious. Just asking for a friend. Mm-hmm. And so, Marcus, I hear that you've known Shane for over a decade. Is that true? Well, yeah, Andy, that's true. Yeah, we used to be models together back in the day, and then we even lived together through COVID. That was good times, yeah. Oh my God, Andy, it was so gross. I used to go over there to visit Marcus, and Shane had a mattress on the floor and an ashtray full of cigarettes and coffee mugs in the bathroom. Yeah, that's gross. And Marcus, did I hear that you had a premonition that you and Shane would one day be on a billboard? Yeah, that's right, Andy. Well, actually, no, it was Shane. We were walking down the boulevard one day. And, I wasn't feeling that great, And Shane said to me, he said, hey, look. And he pointed over to a billboard. And he said, listen, man. He goes, I'm not going to be up there one day unless you're up there with me. Yeah, I thought that was sweet, And now we actually are on a billboard. Would you look at that? Yeah, come on, put it there, brother. Huh? You were right. Yeah, we made it, brother. That's awesome. All right. And so, Shane, you let us and the world know about your struggles with alcohol and drug abuse very early on.
I've got 10 years off alcohol. I have 12 years off meth, 12 years off fentanyl, and right now I've got 2.5 years off
marijuana, Adderall, and mushrooms, and DMT, and ketamine.
You also forgot cocaine, crack, and heroin. No, I'm just kidding. And he's like, yeah, well, you know what, Andy? I grew up in a trailer park, all right? And it all started when I was like around 5 or 6, you know? I had my first sip of Coors Light. And yeah, my parents really liked to do a lot of drugs, Andy, and, you know, and they were drug dealers. So that's kind of how it started. Well, first of all, I would just like to say congratulations. But how in the world did you find at such a young age the strength to get sober? I had no choice. It was either sobriety or death. And here comes Lisa. Yes, but you must have had somebody in your life that really cared about you to help you with your sobriety. Well, no, not really, Lisa. And that's why I had to go out on my own and find a new family in AA. And then here's Lisa coming over to console him, is what she kind of usually does, because, you know, she has that soft spot for the wounded bird, especially the men on her show. I just have to say that part. And she's like, darling, you're very important. You're smart. You're talented. You're very good looking. And you make me a lot of money. All right? And I just wanted to tell you that if you were my son, I'd be very proud of you. Thank you, Lisa. Yeah, I really appreciate that, you know? Yeah, thanks a lot. Well, I just want to say that that is extremely courageous. And so what's next for Shane? What's it look like for your future? Well, you know, Andy, I'm going to stay sober and keep going to meetings and everything like that. And I'm still looking for love in all the wrong places, you know. You know, you can have all the good looks and all the money in the world and all the women. And, you know, guys like myself can bench press all day and never hit that 315 bench, you know what I'm saying? But I did. I hit the 315 bench, you know. I also hit the 415 and the 515. But you know what I'm saying? It's like, you know, you can have all these things and still not be happy. You know what I mean? Yeah. Well, it seems like you're on the right track. And so I wish all the best of luck to you, Shane. Yeah, really, I do. Uh-huh. All right, and this is where we're going to take a little break. And of course, this is where they take their little 15-minute break to like eat and like go to the bathroom and shit. Because little do you guys know, but this is actually, a lot of these reunion tapings are usually like 10 hours long. You know what I mean? It's like an all-day thing. And then Demi gets a little bit emotional because she's like, I've never seen Shane cry before. And then once again, Lisa goes over to console him. And she's like, I'm always going to be here for you. You know that. And I wonder how many times Lisa has said this, right? She said that for Jax. She said that for James. She said that for Schwartzy. And then she said that to Tom Sandoval, which, as we all know, was ridiculous. And then they take their lunch break and everybody's just kind of floating around. And then there's like this moment between Audrey and Angelica where Angelica's like, you know, you look really good, Audrey. And Audrey's like, yeah, you look good too, bitch. And so who knows? Maybe on the horizon, there's a hope for a friendship. And then there's like this sweet little hug between Stasely and Shane. Interesting. We'll get into that later. And we are back with the crazy gang from Vanderpump Rules. And so, Shane, you hooked up with Angelica pretty quickly after she dumped Jason. And so, were you worried about breaking bro code or anything? Yeah, maybe a little bit, you know. But I didn't have a chance to tell Jason because, you know, I had to move fast. You know, I know Angelica moves pretty quickly. And so I kind of had to get in there, you know what I mean? Yeah, you move just as fast, if not faster. Yeah, that's fine with me, Shane. You know, you did me a favor. At the end of the day, you know, she showed her true colors. What are you talking about? I broke up with you first. Okay, I did nothing wrong. And so, Jason, so you're not upset with Shane, but you are upset with Angelica. And so he didn't break bro code for you? No, because at the end of the day, Andy, I wasn't dating Shane. I was dating Angelica. You know what I mean? But maybe next time he can give me the heads up. Nah, I hear you, bro. Definitely next time I'll give you the heads up. But honestly, I really didn't think we were going to get into a full-on makeout.
Speaking of kissing, I felt like I was having a fever dream when you all started making out with each other in San Luis Obispo. Oh, shit!
And so, Venus, who would you say was the best kisser for you that night? Jason. Yeah, because obviously he's very good looking and he had the best soft lips. Really? Is that right, Jason? It was that kind of night, Andy. It was so good, I had to go in for a second time. And here's kiss number 1. And then here's kiss number 2. And then, Jason, at what point did you sort of turn your attention over to Stasely? She's a cutie. And she's got that boss bitch energy that I like, you know? And I just like the way she smells, you know? Her hair and her skin, the way it glows and twinkles in the night. Uh-huh. And so when you two were at the bar that night and Stasely started making out with that random chick that showed up, how close were you guys to having a threesome? And here's a quick little photo for those of you who don't remember. Well, see, Andy, I totally would have because I've never had a threesome before. Yeah, well, you should have tried it with me, you know, because I'm really good at it. Yeah, I've had a lot of practice, you know. And look at Angelica all excited. Yeah, well, you know what, Jason? You should have told me that before. Yeah. Okay, is it fair to say, or I'm assuming, that most of you guys in this room have already had a threesome, right? What? What do you mean, Andy? Of course. What are you talking about? Okay, Dawson, obviously you. Kim, no. Marcus, no. Shane, of course. Yeah, you know it, Andy. Yeah, let's make it easy, huh? Everybody who had a threesome, raise your hand. And so, of course, Dawson raises his hand. And, of course, Shane raises his hand. Now, Angelica doesn't raise her hand, which I'm not too surprised about that. Kim doesn't raise her hand, which I'm definitely not surprised about that. And Marcus doesn't raise his hand, which I'm definitely surprised about that. And now we have the other side, which Audrey raises her hand, which I'm not surprised about that. And then Stasely does not raise her hand, which actually I'm very surprised about that. And then Jason, of course, raises his hand. I'm not surprised about that. Demi does not raise her hand, and I'm not surprised about that. And then last but not least, Venus raises his hand, which I'm not surprised about that. And then he has a little story to tell us by saying that, well, I'll let him say it.
I let 2 guys go down on me at the same time.
Whoa!
Hey!
That's crazy! How?
Go.
How does that work?
Was this the one in the cemetery?
Wait,
No, that was my virginity.
Oh, okay.
dang!
And then Audrey's like, oh my God, I also had sex in the cemetery. Yes, honey, we've all had sex in a cemetery, okay? And if you hadn't had sex in a cemetery, then you haven't lived. No pun intended. And Andy's like, wow, that's wild. So have I. No, I'm just kidding. I wonder if Andy's had 2 guys go down on him. A question for Watch What Happens Live? Yeah, right. He'll never answer it. Now, Shane Davis, I know you've had a threesome. The question is how many and how many girls? Yeah, you know it, Andy. Actually, no, I only had 1 threesome, and it wasn't with 2 girls. Really? Now, see, this is where Andy really gets excited. Well, actually, no, that's not true. See, one time I almost came close to having a threesome with 2 chicks, right? So I had this friend, right? And, like, she called me over to, like, hang out with her, you know what I mean? And so I thought it was just going to be me and her, right? So I get over there, and she's got this big bottle of wine and 2 glasses, and I don't drink. So I turn around, and she's got this friend over there, right? And it turns out it's her best friend, this girl. Right? And so they start drinking. They get really drunk, right? One starts taking off her shirt, and then her bra gets stuck in the shirt. So then I try to help her. Then I turn around, and her friend starts taking her pants off, and she's got no underwear on, right? And at this point, I've had no sex for 6 months, right? And so I told myself I'm not going to do it. So I ran for the door. The door was locked. So then I had to climb out the window, right? And then Lisa's like, my God, you really couldn't write this shit, could you? But then once I climbed out the window, I realized that I didn't have my car keys. I left them back inside the house. So I had to go back in And then by the time I got back in, they were both fully naked. You know what I mean? And so did you have a threesome with them or no? No, I didn't, Andy. Because you see, I promised myself that I was going to stay abstinent or absent or whatever, right? I wasn't going to have sex. And I made it 6 months. So, you know, in the end, I ended up making it to 7.5 months. Really? Okay, so then what happened after the 7.5 months? Well, I ended up sleeping with this girl at the coffee shop that I always go to. And so, please explain to me then, Shane, what does ethical non-monogamy mean? Look at Stasily. She's like, yeah, I want to know what that means too. And obviously what that means is that Shane wants to sleep with multiple people and doesn't want to have a relationship, which is fine, good, whatever. And he's been honest about that. But that doesn't work. No, because you know why? It's that in order for that to work, you'd have to also find a woman who doesn't mind sleeping with multiple people and doesn't want a relationship. And most women don't want that. Yeah, sorry, Shane. Well, you see, Andy, I don't really want to get into a relationship. You know what I mean? It just doesn't really work for me. Yeah, it's called a cop-out. Okay, Shane? Yeah, and so how it works is that I tell the woman up front, listen, I only want to have sex with you, and I really don't want a relationship. That's so romantic. Yeah, and so this way they get to choose whether or not they want to deal with it, right? And so actually I've gotten a little bit better. I've really slowed down this year, you know? I mean, I've only been with 6 women this year. Yeah, that's great, Shane, except that we're only 10 days into the new year. Yeah, it's January 10th. Still really pretty good for me, Andy, I have to say, you know? And hey, listen, I only had 2 in this group. Wait, I'm confused. Who's the 2 in this group? It's Bubblehead over there and Stasily. Yeah, that was just a one and done, Andy. That was it. Yeah, Angelica and I, we hooked up after Pride. Yeah. You know, we were feeling really good that night. She was looking really good. Yeah, and what Shane means by that is that Angelica had just had her boobies done. Yeah. And so here's the iconic scene of them at SUR at the Pride event kissing under the disco ball. And this is the second time they've done that. The first time they kissed under the disco ball was the night that she broke up with Jason. And so after we hooked up, after Pride, you know, I didn't call her for like a week, Andy, okay? And because I figured she'd be back with her boyfriend by then, you know, and I'd be off the hook. Ooh, yeah. Judging by the look on Angelica's face, you could have left that part out, Shane. You know what I'm saying? But Angelica, weren't you with LAX guy at the time? And just as a refresher, or for those of you who don't know, LAX guy is just some guy that you picked up at the airport, in my opinion. Yeah, because I think it was just some guy that Angelica made up to make Shane jealous. That's what I think. Well, LAX guy knew that I was dating Shane because he was also seeing other people, you know? But then we kind of had to break it off because he got jealous when he saw a clip of me kissing Shane on TV. Well, that's probably because this guy thought you were in a relationship. And yeah, that's kind of your thing. You just jump from one relationship to the next. Yeah, I know. But this time I really tried to keep it casual and like easy breezy. You know how you can keep it casual and easy breezy? By being single. Yeah, you should try it sometime. I've tried, Stasily, and every time I tried to be single, I always end up in a relationship. Okay, so Stasily, then what about you? Huh? What? What about me what? I loved this reaction. It was too funny. My, how the tables have turned. Andy's messy. Well, I mean, like, what's going on with you and Shane? I mean, you two seem like there's something going on. And Shane's like, is she going to tell him or am I? And could it be that Shane and Stasily are in a secret relationship? I highly doubt it. So Shane and I are really, 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 really close, right? We talk every single day. And so I don't really know what's going on right now. Okay, so Shane, what's going on? Shane, hello? What's going on between you and Stasily? Oh, sorry, Andy. Yeah, I really love Stasli, you know? She's like one of my best friends. And so I really had to like set some boundaries, you know? I didn't want to just like hook up with her and split and run, you know? Ah, that's nice. Yeah, but also, see, we weren't hooking up, but we were sleeping in the same bed every night for like a month. And look at Demi. She's like, what? Huh? Yeah, what she really means, Demi, is that they've been hooking up every night for like a month. So don't you have feelings for him? I mean, doesn't the start of any good relationship, it starts with a good, strong friendship, right? Yes, exactly. See, I always dreamed that like I would be like in the movies, like I'd be best friends with him first, and then we'd like fall in love and then like get married and like, you know, have some kids and all that. But see, nowhere in this dream do I see us having multiple partners. And so you don't think he's going to commit to you at some point. I just think he's too scared to commit. And so, yeah, I think he just wants to be friends. And so I'm just going to stay his friend. Yeah. Well, it seems like you have something special here, Shane, you know? And so wouldn't you think that if there was anybody that you could commit to, that it would be her? Ah, yeah. I mean, you would think. But I don't know, Andy. I'm just not a one-woman kind of guy, you know? It's not really my thing. You see? Yeah, he can't do it, Andy. So is that why you also broke off things with Angelica? Yes, exactly. But I had already told her that I didn't want to be monogamous. But I could see that she was catching feelings and that eventually she wanted this to head towards a relationship. And so I had to break it off. And so this is the wine and work, but get drunk, whatever weekend, where after one date and one kiss under the disco ball, Shane decided to break things off with Angelica because she was catching feelings. And then Angelica got drunk and started crying for no reason. And then Shane, you locked your door because why? You thought she was going to come in? And then here's the text message from Angelica to Shane the next morning. And it says, why did you lock your door last night? Yeah, that's super embarrassing. See, that means that she went to his room and then the door was locked. Yeah, I would have just kept that to myself. Yeah, well, I knew that if, like, I didn't lock the door, that she would end up coming in, and, of course, we'd end up having sex, and then we'd be right back to square one. But then you hooked up with her 3 weeks later after the Pride event. Well, what can I say, Andy? I mean, you know, she was looking good, and she just had her boobies done, and listen, I'm a man at the end of the day, and I have needs, you know? Ew, oh my God, you don't have to be such a barbarian about it. So, Angelica, you said earlier that LAX guy got jealous because he saw you in a clip kissing Shane. Yeah, well, there were many clips, Andy. I'm on a TV show. But then, no, he came to my workplace one night and just started arguing with me. Demi was there. She saw the whole thing. Wait, so Demi, he came into the restaurant and you met him? And so what happened? And all right, guys, I admit I will bite my tongue. I was wrong. I thought LAX guy was imaginary, but it turns out I guess he's real. Well, I have no idea what happened. All I know is they came in for dinner and like I sat them down at a table like kind of privately. And the next thing I know, I just hear them screaming at each other. Yeah, well, guess what? While we were having dinner, guess what was on the TV in the background? The scene of me and Shane making out. Yeah. And here's the scene of Shane and Angelica kissing in the background. I mean, can you imagine being on a date and then this is playing in the background? It's not like this is a movie. I mean, this is her real life. Allegedly. Well, what I saw was really toxic. I mean, at one point, he got up and started throwing napkins. And so, yeah, I didn't like him. Well, I mean, like, Demi, to be fair, I mean, imagine you're sitting there at dinner and the girl that you like is, like, on the TV, like, kissing some other guy. I mean, you know, I can understand. And that's why, Angelica, like, I can relate to you with, like, the whole jealousy thing. And I just think that, like, if you guys give it some time and you really commit to each other, like, you can learn and grow and, like, really, like, work things out. Darling. No offense, but taking advice from you is like taking advice from a doctor on how to cook. Dope. Well, listen, she's right because, I mean, Kim should be the last person giving anybody relationship advice. And so, as it stands right now, are you and LAX guys still together? Yes, Andy, we're still together. And did you tell producers that you and Shane have a baby pact together? Yes, that's right, we do. Yeah, I mean, Shane and I made a pact that if we weren't in a relationship by a certain age, that we would have a baby together. Thanks for that analogy and that explanation, Angelica. We didn't know that. Yeah, none of us knew what a baby pact is. Not. We all know what a baby pact is, Angelica, okay? And you want to know why? Because we invented it. Okay? I mean, it's in my generation. All right? I mean, do you not remember the Friends episode when Ross and Rachel had a baby pact? No, you don't, because you're too young. Yeah, I mean, why not, Andy, right? I mean, I can understand why she wants to have a baby pact, from a genetic standpoint. From a genetic standpoint? What does that mean, Shane? Well, I mean, I think you know what it means, Andy. I mean, I'm good looking, I'm attractive, I'm tall, I got good cheekbones, I got beautiful eyes, I got a nice nose, I got a nice jawline. Shut the fuck up, Shane, okay? Seriously. And look at Stasly, she's like, oh my God, this is so romantic. No. Okay, moving on. And so, Audrey, you had your comedy stand-up special, and you roasted everybody, but you clearly went a little over and beyond and hard on Angelica. And poor Audrey, you knew it was coming, because her comedy performance, as we all know, she said to Angelica that something about like she hops between men faster than a frog hops on a lily pad or something like that. And then, of course, Angelica was upset, so much so that she left and went home. And here's Stasly being a good friend. You know what, Angelica? All those jokes that Audrey made about you were already out there in social media. And so these are things we already knew about you. That's why it was funny. And here's Marcus chiming in. Yeah, well, we all felt bad for Angelica in that moment. Those jokes were pretty brutal. What? You were the one that told me that my jokes were funny and that I should use them.
I was just trying to
You're full of
encourage
shit.
Just trying to be a good friend.
Yeah, well, fuck you for that.
Oh, okay.
So, Audrey, do you think that maybe you owe Angelica an apology? I will say that I apologize for the Instagram thing, okay? But you did hit below the belt, so I was getting back at you. Okay, switching gears. Now, Lisa, every year you host a Pride event because it's very important to you and your love and support of the community. You're a big part of the community. And so why did you choose Venus to host it this year? Well, darling, Venus is very special. And he's very near and dear to my heart. And so, of course, I chose him because he's like a son of mine. Yeah, a son that you only gave $500 to buy a bunch of blow-up toys and some angel wings. But anyway. Yeah, Venus, I was really moved by your coming out story and about how your father watched every single episode of Vanderpump Rules just so that he could be closer to you. Yeah, I was pretty shocked, Andy, because, I haven't even watched all the episodes of Vanderpump Rules. So, yeah, I thought that was pretty awesome. And then we actually found out something about you, right? Didn't you tell producers that your birth name is Clint? Well, I mean, Andy, you didn't really think his name was Venus. I mean, come on, he's from Texas, for God's sakes. And so it's no longer Clint. And of course, it's Venus. Yes. Well, I knew when I moved to West Hollywood that, Clint just wasn't going to cut it. And so I was coming out of my friend's swimming pool one day, and I just felt like a mermaid. And then it hit me, Venus. And I've been that ever since. And then, Audrey, you were pretty open and pretty vocal about your relationship with a woman for 6 years. Well, yeah, it was in high school. I was 14 years old, and I fell in love with a girl. And we were together all throughout high school and into college. And is it true that now she's transitioned? Do I have that right? She's a man now. And yeah, he's just taught me a lot about life and love and like how to be open to it, you know, and it's just taught me a lot about the world. That's interesting. So, Kim and Marcus, I was very surprised to see that at the end of the season, you two have stopped taking birth control. Yeah, well, I wasn't like trying to get pregnant, but I wasn't like not trying to get pregnant. You know what I mean? And so we weren't really like ready at the time. But I just know that like Marcus would be a really great dad and I would be a really great mom and we would have really great kids. And so, yeah, I just thought that it would be a great idea. And so, Venus, knowing what you know, you think this is a bad idea and you think they should wait. Well, yeah. I told them they should wait at least 5 years. 5 years? Oh my God. I don't have 5 years, Venus.
Yeah.
I'm going to be a
Girl,
grandma.
That's a long time. I can be a grandpa by then.
Yeah. You know what? I'm just going to go ahead and say that I don't think these two should have kids at all. And how about, why don't we do this? Why don't we check back in about 2 to 3 years and see if they're still together, and then we'll go from there. Well, you might want to get rid of the cigarettes in the bathroom first. Yeah, and your DJ equipment in the living room is just way too loud.
Okay, guys. I get it. Yeah, I'm not going to be a dad. No, not yet anyway.
And then Venus is like, okay, I'll make a deal with you. If you guys can make it 1 year, then I'll help you pick out the baby clothes. Okay, Venus, you have a deal. If Marcus and I can stay together for 1 year, I'm going to meet you at Baby Gap. All right. So, our Vanderpump Rules cast in the past have gotten a lot of attention on social media, but not quite like today. Today, we have platforms like TikTok and Instagram and YouTube and Twitter and the infamous OnlyFans. Oh my God, are we finally gonna get into the cousin porn? Here we go, guys. And speaking of OnlyFans, I have 2 cast members here that are making so much money on OnlyFans, I might have to recast them. Hi, Dawson. Hey, how you doing, Andy? Hi, Jason. Hey, Andy. Hi, what's going on? So, Angelica, you received a video from one of the hostesses at Sir, but you didn't watch the video, but you read the caption. No, I didn't see the video, but I thought the caption was pretty self-explanatory. And here's Angelica reading the caption to the girls at the wine and work and retreat weekend or whatever the hell. I'll let her say it in her own voice.
I'm gonna read you this caption. All 3 of your favorite boys are back together. All 3 of our throbbing cocks and spread open holes, rubbing each other down all over. Oiled up saggy balls and stroking. This is even saggy balls? This is even worse than I remember.
So, Angelica, if you didn't see the video, then what did you think was taking place? Really? Really, Andy? We're gonna play that again? What do you think, Andy, was going on in that video after reading that caption? Yeah, so as I said before, the caption is pretty self-explanatory. So I didn't really want to envision like 2 cousins like doing weird things with each other. And so that's why I didn't watch the video. So Demi, you did watch the video, or 45 seconds of it. Yes, it was horrible, Andy. Worst night of my life. And so in those 45 seconds, what made you think that it was incestuous? All I saw was these 2, and they were naked, and I think there was like one other guy. Oh yeah, old man Sam. Yeah, I known him a long time. He's older than me. Yeah, so they were fully naked, and they were like in the shower, and then they like started massaging each other. Hey, I wasn't the one in the shower, all right, sweetheart? Yeah, no, that was me and old man Sam, you know, yeah. Yeah, but they were massaging each other, and I just think that if you're cousins and you're touching each other, I just think that's fucking weird. Hey, yo, everybody has their own opinions, right? Yeah, just so you know, I wasn't naked when I was massaging them, okay? Jason, I saw your penis. Oh, yeah. I was naked in the beginning. Yeah, that's right. In the shower, maybe. Yeah, okay. Well, what about Shane saying that, like, his cousin taught him how to, like, finger somebody with, like, his girlfriend at the time? Oh, yeah, that's right. Do you guys remember when Shane let us in on this little bit of information that we didn't need to know? I'll let him say it.
When I was a teenager, my cousin brought his girlfriend into the room to teach me how to make lemon.
So, Angelica, you didn't see the video. You're just going off of the caption. Do you think you were trying to embarrass Jason by revealing this video? I'm just going to stop him right there. Andy, shut the fuck up, okay? Like, I'm tired of this. I'm tired of this whole scenario. Like, you're asking these questions like as if, are we trying to normalize cousin porn? Is that what we're doing? And then poor Angelica has to explain like why she didn't want to watch the video or why she thought it was weird. It's like, hello. You know, she just said that she didn't have a problem with the porn. It was just the fact that it was Dawson and Jason, two cousins, and one of which she happened to date. That was her problem. So it's like, this is so stupid. This is ridiculous. And here's Lisa. Well, darling, I haven't seen the video, and I don't plan to. And Andy's like, well, I want to see the video. Yeah, me too. And Andy's like, well, I mean, how bad is it? I don't know, Andy. Tell us.
Scale from nothing to White Lotus.
Yeah.
What was it?
We're not hooking up with each other. I'm massaging Jason's freaking shoulders while the masseuse is just like
There's a
massaging.
professional masseuse there.
It's massaging like our lower back, not really getting into like your myself.
I don't like it.
Our roommate at the time and the masseuse.
It's like a gym locker room.
A gym locker room.
Like how guys are naked in a gym.
Oh yeah, exactly. Same thing.
All right.
Sorry.
Really? A gym locker room? Okay. And Dawson's like, yeah, it's a good fucking video. You know what I mean, guys? You guys should all watch it. And hey, you should follow me on OnlyFans, okay? It's Italian Stallion 12345. So Dawson, how far did you actually go in this video? Well, I'll put it like this, Sandy. How far is too far for you guys? Wow. Really, Dawson? Okay. And see, this is where I thought Andy was going to ask the good questions. You know, like, were you fucking your cousin in the video? Were you getting a blowjob in the video? Were you giving a blowjob? Did you get a hand job? Did you give a hand job? Did someone enter your asshole? But no, instead, Andy asks, did you film with women? Really, Andy? What a cop-out. You really could have gone in for the kill here. But anyway, and then here's Dawson. Yeah, of course I filmed with women. One time I filmed with this famous porn star, you know, and like we were kind of gotten hot and heavy, but I had to break it off, you know, because I don't want to date a porn star. Yeah, we really liked her, Andy, you know, but she ended up falling in love with Dawson, and so we had to kick her to the curb. And there goes that we again. Fucking weirdos. No, I'm just kidding. And then Shane chimes in, and he's like, you know, funny thing, Andy, after this whole season aired, a lot of people were approaching me and asking me that I should join OnlyFans. Really? And so, did you join? No, Andy, not yet. Because I want to figure out a way to do it without showing my dick. Of course not, Shane, because you've already admitted to having a small penis. So why would we want to pay for that? Maybe Andy would, but no. So you should stick to modeling. Yeah, that way you can stuff your underwear with a prosthetic or a sock. And here's Jason. Yeah, no, Shane, you know, you'd be really good at it, you know. You don't have to show your dick, man. You'll make a lot of money. Yeah, why don't you hit me up after this? So, Jason, you must make a lot of money on OnlyFans. So what's one of the craziest things that somebody's asked for? Uh-oh, I'm scared.
This one where this dude would like we would film
The pie?
our pie. Yeah,
That was a weird.
We would pie each other, and we would just have our feet.
Look at Andy's face.
Fetishes.
I had this guy who like had this fetish that like he literally wanted me to pretend that I was a peanut.
Okay, that's weird.
I was being swallowed.
And now we've come to the end of the reunion, and this is where Andy goes around and asks everybody for their final thoughts. And so, Venus, I'm going to start with you. And so you had quite the emotional season, but I'm glad that you and Marcus mended your friendship. And so is there anything you'd like to say? Well, that's just it, Andy. I mean, I really didn't have any good relationships with men. And so outside of Marcus, Dawson and Jason and I got really close, and they showed me what it's like to have a good, healthy bond with men. And then Andy turns to Dawson, a.k.a. Chris, and he's like,
So, Chris, relationship-wise, What do you see for yourself in your future?
Me and Lisa get married.
Yeah, right. Keep dreaming, Dawson. And then Dawson's like, well, I want to have a family one day. You know what I mean, Andy? Yeah, that's what everybody strives for, but that's what I really want. Couple of kids, white picket fence, all that shit. Well, not everybody strives for that now, Dawson, but good luck with that. Yeah, maybe you should reconsider dating a porn star and maybe get married and have her pump out a couple of kids. And then you, her, and Jason can all live in a house together with the white picket fence. And then Andy's like, yeah, that's nice, Dawson. And so, Angelica, you called yourself a girl's girl in the beginning, but things were a little rocky along the way. So what do you see for yourself in the future going forward with these girls? Well, Andy, I was thinking that we should all get together and start like a girls group, like female empowerment. Yeah, and then we can go headstrong into the next season. And then Audrey's like, Angelica, why don't you stay off social media for a while, okay? And then we can talk. Oh, okay. That's too bad. So, Jason, you're no longer a server, but is there anything else on the menu that you know other than the famous goat cheese balls? Well, of course, Andy, just give me a second there to remember, Psst, crab cake. Well, don't help him, Venus. My God, he's supposed to learn. Well, part of being a good manager is to teach him, right, Demi? Yeah. And speaking of being the manager, Andy goes to Demi next. So, Demi, being the manager of all your friends, how difficult is that? It's horrible. It's hellish. It's torturous at times. Painful. They don't listen. It's kind of like babysitting on crack. Uh-huh. So, Kim, obviously you and Marcus have had an up and down kind of break up, get back together relationship. And so I wonder, going forward, is there anything that you have that's just for you aside from Marcus? Yeah, I know. I totally lost myself in Marcus, but when I first moved here to LA, I wanted to become an actress and I also wanted to become a singer, and Stasely kind of helped me with that. But yeah, and so I think I'm just going to focus on that. Yeah. Okay, Kim, you're not going to become an actress and you're not going to become a singer, okay? And neither is Stasely. I'm sorry to become the bearer of the truth news. So sorry, honey, but it's the truth. So, Marcus, I hear you're playing matchmaker these days. And so who are you playing matchmaker for and why? Well, believe it or not, Andy, it's for Shane. Yeah. I think him and Stasely would make a great couple, And so I'm working on it. Okay, so Stasely, do you agree? Do you think that you and Shane would make a good couple? Of course, Andy, but he's not going to go for it. Okay, so then Shane, that means the ball is in your court now, right?
It's really just about you kind of knocking your walls down and letting yourself be vulnerable, I guess. Okay. Yeah.
It's time to let go of the past.
And to laugh.
Yeah, I'm never going to lose my laugh, Andy, But we'll see what happens with Stasely. And aw, look at Stasely. Yeah, it's never going to happen, honey. Sorry. So, Lisa, what do you think? Any last and final words for this group here? Well, Andy, I think that being on a reality show is very hard. It's like looking in a mirror. It's very difficult. And so I think they did a really good job. So, Angelica, I think that if you're going to talk behind people's backs, you better say it to their face. Okay, sure. And you better stop being a fuckboy and know that you're enough. Yeah, thank you, Lisa. Thank you. I appreciate that, yeah. And Marcus, you need to be more romantic to Kimberly. Huh? What? What did I do? And you need to have more confidence in yourself. Yes, I know. Thank you, Lisa. Audrey, you're brilliant, darling. Yes, absolutely amazing. Aw, thank you, Lisa. Yeah, Stasely, sweetheart, you were terrible at the start, but you grew into one of my best bartenders. Thank you, Lisa. Wait, was that a compliment or no? I couldn't tell. And Demi, darling, thank you. Your job is impossible. Yeah, I know. Thank you, Lisa. And here's Lisa, in her own words, one last time. Take it away.
And the boys, the naughty boys, carry on being naughty. Everybody else having fun.
Always.
But, you know, I think they've been very brave in a lot of ways by being honest. And I think that's the greatest thing.
Yes, it is, Lisa. It sure is. And then here's Andy ending the reunion by saying that it's their first reunion, but it's his 100th. I'm just kidding. Not really, though. And so by way of tradition, after every reunion, Andy brings out a round of cocktails, of course, the infamous Pumptini, and it better not have an orange in it, but it doesn't look like it does. Good job. And then they're going to raise their glasses high because this one is for you tonight. Yes. And they're going to cheers and make a toast to the Vanderpump Rules Season 12 reunion. Yay! Cheers! Yeah, cheers to a great season, guys. Yeah, cheers. I can't believe I didn't have a storyline all season long. Aw, don't worry, Demi. There's always next season. And there you go, Demi. That a girl. Cheer up. There's nothing that a good Pumptini can't cure. And what the hell is... What? Who is... Is that... What's his face? The weird mustache guy that came out of his hole for a night? Yeah, you remember this guy? When they were all out that night, when they were drunk and arguing, and then this guy came out of nowhere, and he was absolutely flabbergasted. Yeah, that guy. Hey, look who it is. It's the mustache guy. Oh, my God. That was the guy that was standing outside that was staring at us the whole night. Yo, my man, my buddy, my bro.
How you doing, guy?
My God, you would think the guy was a celebrity or something. And look at Andy. He's like, oh my God, guys, can you believe that dude just like showed up? Yeah, okay, Andy. You know your team tracked him down and then hired him to show up. I mean, come on. And that's the end of the reunion, guys. Finally. And of season 12 and the new cast of Vanderpump Rules. But wait, it's not over just yet. Go press pause now and go grab a refill and then come right back because up next is my cast recap and last call, of course. And don't forget to like the video and subscribe to my channel. Thanks. And stay tuned because the cast recap is coming up right now. All right, guys, it's over. That's it. That's the end of Vanderpump Rules Season 12. Oh, no, the new cast. That's it. It's over. So what did we think? What did we think? We finally found out what the fuck was going on with that whole cousin porn thing. We didn't really get the answers that I was looking for. At least I didn't anyway. I knew they were going to figure out how to talk themselves out of it. And nobody really, I was expecting everybody to really get on them about it. But at the end of the day, I guess we normalized penis pumps and we also normalized cousin porn. Who would have ever thought it? Sorry, Midnight. But no, seriously, I mean, I don't know. What did you guys think? I mean, what did we learn in the second half? Huh? Okay, we learned that, obviously there's something going on between Stasely and Shane. I mean, I don't know. I think Stasely, you're barking up the wrong tree, honey. I mean, he obviously told you he's not monogamous. And even though you guys have a great friendship, you know what I mean? And you sleep in the bed every night. What the hell was that? Oh, he scratches my back and blah, blah, blah. And by the way, guys, I love that you watch my videos and everything, but I really do want you to actually go watch the show. You can watch it on Bravo or you can watch it on Peacock. Because if you watch the show, then we can really get into it. Because then you'll know what I'm talking about. And my jokes will be a lot funnier because you'll understand why they're funny. But anyway, so watch the reunion too. And then come back here and watch my video. And then we can really laugh and make fun of it. And that's what I'm doing right now. And so... yeah, so we learned that there's something going on between Shane and Stasely, but, and I think that Stasely would be really good for Shane. I really do, because she's hot, she's smart, she's talented, and I think that's what he needs, you know what I mean? But it's not what he wants, unfortunately. So, but I think that he really just needs therapy, and, I don't think he could be with any woman until he figures out, you know, why he wants to be non-monogamous. You know what I mean? So why he doesn't want to be monogamous. You know what I mean? Which, you know, I'm not a therapist, but I can pretty much figure that one out. But anyway, getting back to Stasili, I just feel bad for her because I don't think that's going to happen. And the more that she continues with the friendship, you know, the less that she's going to go out there and actually meet a man that is going to be right for her, right? Because she's going to be waiting around for Shane. So, you know, even though it was kind of sweet, I was kind of like, nah, that's not going to work. What else did we learn? We learned that Angelica is still with LAX guy. I mean, remember I told you I didn't even think he existed? Well, now we learned he actually is a person and he does exist. You know, who would have thought? Anyway, I think he's still just a guy she picked up at the airport. But anyway, Demi met him. And she was saying that he came to the restaurant and evidently like caused a scene and like they started having a fight or whatever. And then Angelica explained that the reason why they were fighting is because the scene of her kissing Shane was actually on the TV in the restaurant at Sir, where they were having dinner. So, which by the way, why would you bring your date to your workplace? I mean, you're just asking for trouble. I mean, they're having dinner at Sir. What do you think is going to be playing on the TV? Huh? Love Island? No. Vanderpump Rules, of course, because that's where it takes place. So, I don't know. I don't think she thought that one completely through. And then, of course, the cousin porn, you know? I mean, I don't know. I mean, they obviously didn't sleep with each other. And, I mean, they said they were just giving each other massages and whatnot. But call me crazy. But I think if you're doing anything naked with your cousin, I don't think that's cool. You know what I mean? Whether you're getting money or whatever it's for. I mean, great. You're getting money. That's amazing. But couldn't you pick someone that's not your blood relation? I mean, that part I just don't understand. And then it kind of raises, you put the cousin to the side, it kind of raises this whole gay for pay thing, you know? I think that you have a right to do whatever the hell you want. You know, I'm all for gay for pay. Cool. You know what I mean? But, you know, he was saying that he did date a porn star at one point and that he couldn't continue to date her because she was a porn star. Well, obviously, he knows that that's hypocritical because I would say that if a girl wants to get involved with him, she's not going to like the fact that he's on OnlyFans massaging naked his cousin down, okay? Nobody's going to be cool with that. So, you know, I think Dawson is also another one that's barking up the wrong tree where he's saying all these things, but he's not living that way, right? He's living like a porn star, basically. So he had a porn star. He didn't want to be with her. You know, I thought he found his match, basically. So, and, you know, I hate to say it, I think his whole relationship with Audrey was fake. I really do, guys. I'm so sorry. I think he did like her because how can you not? She's gorgeous and her personality is awesome. But I think that he just kind of chimed into her and figured, oh, you know what? This will be a great storyline. This could be my girlfriend on the show. You know what I mean? This will get me more camera time and all that kind of stuff. But I don't think he was really like interested in Audrey. And I don't think Dawson can really have a relationship because when you do porn, I'm sorry, it's porn. It's porn. Whether it's soft porn or whatever, it's PG porn or whatever, it's still porn. And I think that when you get into that realm, I think that you obviously have to be open and honest about that. You know what I mean? Because you can't have like what happened with Audrey where all of a sudden she finds out later that you have this video out or whatever. So you kind of have to let the girl know, listen, this is what I do for a living. I'm on OnlyFans and this is what I do. So you give her the choice whether she doesn't give a shit and she'll continue on with you, or she cares and she doesn't want to have anything to do with that. The same way you didn't want to have anything to do with the porn star. So yeah, full circle. So, yeah, sorry, Dawson, but I think I think that whole thing was fake. And Jason, I think you just kind of tag along. I think you're like, you know, a tag along with your cousin. You know, I think you couldn't do shit in the restaurant. That was obvious, you know. So, but anyway, now I'm getting more into the cast recap. So I liked part 2, you know, all the answers were answered and this and that. And yeah, so what did you guys think? You know, why don't you drop some comments down below and tell me what you thought, you know, especially if you did watch the show. Tell me who you liked, who was your favorite, what you didn't like. You know, do you want the show to continue? I mean, do you think it's worthy of another season? Or do you think that we need to move on and, like, you know, go to Vegas? That's where Lisa's going. But anyway, yeah, so, all right, let's get into the cast recap, all right? So that's starting right now. So grab another cocktail, because you know this is my second, because I finished the first one when I was watching with you guys. But anyway, so, all right. Now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put some pictures up on the screen here so you guys can see what I'm looking at. And we're just going to go over, like, each cast member and just talk a little bit about, like, you know, how they did on the show, them as a person, and maybe get into a little bit of their fashion styles and their confessional looks and stuff like that. And that's it. And since it's going to be a long time since the next season, I mean, that's what I'm hearing. If there is a next season, you know, this may be all we have, you know, for a while or ever. So I hope this is good. Yeah, and you know, I haven't really seen too many other people covering Vanderpump Rules on YouTube, at least, you know. So, you know, if you are interested in the show, here's your home. Because I don't really see anybody else. And I mean, I can kind of understand because nobody was really on board with this. And, you know, like I said, I was one of them. But, you know, here we are. So, all right. Well, you're not going to see my gorgeous face. So sorry. But I have to see what we're looking at here. So I'm going to put it on the screen. All right. So who should we start with, guys? Who should we start with? And I'm sorry, but I'm going to need a smoke for this. That's why we're in the garage, by the way. You know what I mean? I mean, I'm so sorry that I don't have like a gorgeous studio background and whatnot. But, you know, Mama needs to smoke. Okay, Mama needs to smoke, and I have quarantined myself to the garage because if I smoke in the rest of the house, my house will literally be a bar, and it will smell like one, and so I still have to live here and sleep here at the end of the day, so, you know, I quarantine myself to the garage, that's all. It's not the end of the world, guys. All right, so who should we start with? Let's start with Stassi. Okay, let's start with Stassi. All right. So, obviously, you guys know why I call her Stassi. Because in the beginning, you know, usually I don't really know everybody's names. And so I kind of like come up with like a little nickname for me to remember them and kind of give them, you know, some personality, going with their personality or whatever, right? And so she was definitely, I wasn't looking for people to replace the original cast. But it was just kind of coming to me as it goes. And what I saw was that, you know, kind of right away, she was giving me Stassi vibes, for sure, you know. And what the hell? Is that from the sunglasses? What the fuck is that on my eye? Anyway, she was definitely giving me Stassi vibes. But not completely either, because she doesn't look like her, you know, except she does have the resting bitch face. Okay? And so we're going to get into that. And I'm going to show you that in just a minute. But, so anyway, that's why I called her Stassi, okay? Because she's Stassi and she's Natalie, so she's Stassi. So that's her name. All right, so pictures. All right, so thank God it's covering whatever the hell is going on under my eyes right here. I think that was from the sunglasses, but anyway. All right, so we have a Stasalitas, and she is a sexy bartender, guys. She is, and she's giving me experienced. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think, like, Dawson obviously wasn't experienced, and you see throughout the show that she's kind of, like, giving him tips and pointers and things. So, yeah, she's definitely giving me, like, the vibes, like, she definitely knew what she was doing, you know? She definitely worked there before they started filming the show, so that was real, that was authentic, right? Because I can tell, I'm a bartender, hello. So yeah, so instantly loved her. I totally loved her vibes, but yeah, she definitely has, you can see here, she has resting bitch face, just like Stassi. And she is a singer, guys, okay? She's a singer, and she wants to be like her style is like pop star music, I guess you could say, or whatever. She got Jason and Dawson to be her backup dancers, you know, and of course they looked good, and she looked good. Everybody looked good. But I do have to say, like, she's not the best singer, okay? And she's good, but she's not the best. And I mean, nowadays, if you want to be a singer, I mean, you got to be really good, right? You can't just be on a show or be on social media or whatever. Like, it's extremely hard to get into the music industry. It was hard back then. It's even harder now, okay? But Stasli, I think if you're going to pick a career, I don't think singing is it, unless you are absolutely fucking fantastic, okay? Which you are not. But she did perform at SUR on Pride, and so these are some of the pictures, and Lisa congratulated her afterwards, which I thought was sweet. Of course, if you get the okay from Lisa, it's all good, because, you know, Sheena performed, Lala performed, you know, and where are they now in terms of music? Nowhere, right? So there you go. You see how hard it is to make it. But if you're really, really talented, you know what I mean, you're going to make it, you know, one way or another. And Stasli's just not that talented as a singer, I'm sorry. So then we get to Shane, which was kind of her first love interest on the show, or really her only love interest on the show. They went on a date. They went on this like stupid ass rock climbing date that was Shane's idea. And in that date, we learned that Stasli had MS, or she had like multiple sclerosis. She had some kind of like a curved spine. And so here's the x-rays. You can see the x-rays there. But that's pretty intense. So that was kind of interesting to learn that about her early on, you know. Yeah, you know, that ruins your confidence and your self-esteem or whatever. And clearly it didn't for her, because she has an amazing body and she's gorgeous and her confidence is through the roof. And speaking of confidence, that's actually why it didn't work out between her and Shane initially, because he bored her, I guess, or something. Like, if you watch the show, I don't know if I put it in the episode, because I try to do my best. I mean, if I really recapped everything, the show my videos would be like 2 hours long, right? So I try to recap as much as I can, but sometimes I do leave some stuff out. In this episode where she calls it off with Shane, she basically like told him that he was boring, because he was wondering why she was hugging like all these other guys at the pool party, you know, and which was weird because he's not monogamous and they weren't boyfriend and girlfriend. So I don't know why he was it was giving jealousy a little bit. So, and then she kind of just cut it off immediately and was like, no, sorry, I'm bored now. So that was it for that. And then she kind of had a little thing with Jason. And here's some of the pictures of, they went on a paint and sip, or there was no alcohol, but like just a paint date, I guess you could say, which was really stupid. But you know, I mean, I would do it with a friend or something if I was drunk, but I wouldn't do it for like a date, you know? And funny enough, Jason was the only one who thought it was a date because Stasli did not think it was a date. She was confused. She thought they were just hanging out or whatever. And so that would explain some things. But anyway, so they end up making out. So that's all that Jason got out of the gig. He wanted more. He wanted to kind of go somewhere into dating, into a relationship. And Stasli just made it clear that she did want to make out with him, but it was more like of a buddy situation, right? And then, you know, we kind of learned that Stasli, when she has a few drinks, which woman doesn't, right, became a bit of a makeout queen, right? A drunk, what do I like to call it? A DMQ? a DMOQ or something like that. Anyway, a drunk makeout queen. That's what it's called, okay? And that's Stasli for sure. Okay, she has a few drinks, she makes out with Jason, she makes out with some chick that ended up at the bar, and look at her, she's putting her chapstick on. I mean, she's getting ready for this, you know what I mean? So she's, you know, this isn't her first rodeo, okay? Because I've never breaking out chapstick, okay? It just sort of happened. So she was preparing for that. So I thought that was kind of funny. And so here's a few, like, pictures of her just basically making out with a chick, and then she makes out with Venus. You remember that episode? She makes out with Audrey, and then she kind of gives Demi a little show, I guess you could say, maybe a little a strip tease or something or whatever. Sorry guys, I'm kicking this thing that's in front of me. Yeah, so that was interesting. And yeah, she's a little touchy-feely there when she has a couple of drinks. And speaking of touchy-feely, she was a little bit touchy-feely with Marcus and gave him a hug. And that's what started the whole war between her and Kim. Okay, because she was like hugging on Marcus because he was consoling her about something that happened at work. And then, you know, they started texting each other a little bit, as friends do. But Kim thought it was a little bit inappropriate. Like one of her texts to Marcus was something about she wanted to buy these like sexy heels or something. Fuck me heels, as Kim calls them. And so she thought that was a little inappropriate. Now, I will say, like, you know, if you're in a relationship with someone and your someone is a boyfriend, he's a man, and he has a best friend that's a girl, or one of his friends is a girl, you know, I think it's fine for them to talk and to text and stuff like that. But I do think it's weird to be like texting a lot or like good morning, good night. Like that's a little much. I mean, my best friend is a guy and I don't text him good morning and good night. Like we don't do that. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, you know, Kim definitely set some boundaries, and I think Stashley should have listened to that, right? And so, but it wasn't like a huge deal, but they made it a huge deal. I mean, they were arguing about this the entire season, and it was so stupid. They didn't cheat, they didn't even kiss. It was a hug and a couple of text messages, okay? So I definitely think that Kim went on with it way too long. I think that she definitely had a right to feel a certain way, but once she told her, that should have been it. It went on for the whole season. Yeah, they made up, but then they argued about it again. And they made up, and then they argued about it at the reunion, as you could see, again. So, yeah, so that was a little tricky. And then, of course, here's some pictures of them arguing when they went out and all that. And then she got into it with Demi as well. I mean, her and Demi kind of, it started out they were arguing because they were dating the same guy, some guy named Paolo or whatever, which they were both confused on that. Demi seems to think that Stassi knew that she was dating Paolo, and Stassi said she didn't know that Demi was dating Paolo. Whatever, it wasn't a big storyline, you know what I mean? But anyway, ultimately, at the end, they did kind of kiss and make up. You know, Demi and Stassi are still friends, you know what I mean, or whatever. So, but they have a work relationship. Demi is her boss. So, and then Stassi got into it with the guys a little bit because, as you saw, after her and Jason's little fling ended, well, it never really was, apparently, it turns out that Jason and Shane were kind of talking about it, about whether or not bro code or whether or not Jason should even go for Stassi because Shane had already been there, right? So Stassi gets mad over this, of course, because she's like, who gave you the right to like argue about who should be with me or whatever? I mean, actually, thank you. That's a compliment, right? But it did kind of rub her the wrong way because it looked like they were arguing over a plant or something, or like an object rather than a person. So yeah, I totally get it. And so she was fun throughout the whole season. I mean, you know, she likes her sandwiches, as you can see here. And that particular time that she had that sandwich, Angelica got really jealous because Shane like gave her a bite of his sandwich or whatever. And then they went to something about her, which, as you guys, if you don't know, that's the sandwich shop that Ariana and Kate Maloney have from the previous Vanderpump Rules, from the previous cast. And so these are pictures of them in the sandwich shop. But what's funny is, as you can see, the girl sitting next to Stassi looks like Ariana, which is fucking weird. And so at first, I thought it was Ariana. I'm like, oh my God, is she making a cameo or something? But I thought they wouldn't do that because they would promote that, right? They wouldn't just have her pop up, right? And not say anything or whatever. So, but as you can see, it's not Ariana, but she does look like her a little bit. And I just think it's ironic that she's sitting next to her and they're in something about her. But anyway, okay, so that was just a little something, something. All right, so now let's get into some looks. So we have, yeah, the first couple, she did some modeling and whatnot for the shoot that they did, you know, for the Vanderpump Rules new cast photo shoot, whatever. Then you can see here, there's a picture of her in the dress where they went to the wine, when they did the wine hopping tour, whatever, on the bus thing. And they were getting a little rowdy on the bus, and like someone bumped into Jason and he spilled his wine all over Stasely. And so when they got to one of the vineyards, she actually introduced herself with wine all over herself, drunk as fuck, and then basically asked the guy if he has something to take the wine stain out of her dress, which of course they did, right? Why? How could they not? And so of course this picture right here is Demi trying to take the stains out of her dress, right? And so, and then here's Stasely on the bus, and she was on the phone quite a few times, which is weird. You don't usually see that on a reality show because, I don't know, they take their phones away or something, but she was on her phone quite a bit. And I mean, like, who was she talking to? Like, we have no idea. Was it like a secret boyfriend? Was it Paolo? Who knows, right? But I just thought that was interesting. And then here she is on the bus, drunk cowgirl, passed out, you know what I mean? And then, we have the look that she had going into her performance, which is cute. You know, I would have picked something different. And then this is her naked, just hanging out with her cowboy hat on, you know. And then this is when she went on her little date with Jason. And, I mean, you know, she was pretty much in her bartending clothes most of the time, you know. I mean, this cute little top number, this gray thing, whatever this is. But yeah, I mean, her style was just kind of like bartender, you know what I mean? Which I totally understand because that's my style. It's just black clothes, you know, little slinky tops, spaghetti straps, whatever. That's how it goes. And then here's some pictures of her when she was trying on Angelica's bikini line. And of course, she looked fabulous in it. And she actually tried to do, or she did, a cartwheel in the freaking bikini, which, I mean, are you kidding me? On camera? What? I wouldn't even wear that thing, let alone do a cartwheel in it. It's really funny, but kudos to her. And here's some more pictures. See, she's got like the MC jacket, bartender. Ooh, yes, girl, work it. Look at her. She's hot, man. She's hot. But yeah, you see again, she's got the black spaghetti strap tops, you know, and she kind of wears it everywhere because she was either on her way to work or coming from work or whatever, or just like laid back kind of like workout attire or whatever. So yeah. And then her confessional looks, I didn't really care for. So this first look was basically like hippie style, I guess you could say, like very bohemian or whatever. I mean, it's cute, but not for a confessional. And I didn't get the long version of that. So like I only got the top version, so I was only able to see the top. Now this yellow one I like. I think this looks good on her. You know, it fits her nice. And it's, you know, it's a nice color for her. But now here you can see a little bit more of the full body, a little bit more. She's got some gray boots on to match. Okay. And then her last look is this red leather dress number, which is cute, you know. Again, she can wear anything, but I mean, they're not my favorite looks, but here's the full body version. And, you know, I mean, look, she looks hot, but like I said, it's not my favorite picks. All right, so who do we have next? Let's see. All right. All right, what do we have? Who we got next? Demi. Let's do Demi. Okay. Demilinskaya. So as we know, Demi is the manager, well, the assistant manager. Okay, Lisa's got like 80 million managers around there, man. I don't know what the hell she's doing. She's got 80 million managers. Peter's a manager. This other one's a manager. Mackenzie's a manager. They're all freaking managers. Anyway, so she's the assistant manager, and she was actually on the show, or she was working when the old cast was filming. So she's been there 12 years now, right? And so this was, I don't know why she wasn't on the previous cast. She just didn't make it, I guess, right? And so this time around, she's on it. And you can kind of tell, right? I mean, She's boring as fuck. I'm sorry to say. She has no storyline whatsoever. And I can understand because listen, she's a manager, right? So she has to be the boss. She can't be getting drunk and partying every day, right? And then that also affects her relationship with the other cast members because it was kind of like Peter. You know, I mean, Peter would like hang out with them and he would get messy at times. I mean, he made out with Stassi, sorry, the real Stassi. And he made out with Rachel, like he hooked up with Kristen and stuff like that. But as if you watch the old show, he was always kind of separate because he was the manager, you know what I mean? And so that's what Demi is kind of giving, you know what I mean? And I kind of feel bad for her because she didn't really get to shine or whatever, or have like a real storyline because she's the manager. So, but I think she did her best. And so here's some pictures of Demi. Okay, here we go. And see, there's Demi when the old cast was there, and so that's her in the background. Like 10 years ago, when Sheena was filming a scene or whatever, they got her in the background. So that was her. And so now she's on the show, and yeah, not much going on. But you can see here, yeah, she's a good manager, and they almost gave her a heart attack in this picture, you know, when they were arguing in the restaurant, and she was arguing with Stassi and all that. So, and then here's her serving some drinks at Pride. And then, of course, there's Lisa, like, congratulating her and telling her what a good job she's done all season and stuff like that. So that's great to get the okay from Lisa. And then here's a picture of Paolo with his face blocked out. So that's Paolo, guys, and what caused a riff, ultimately, with her and Stassi. And then these were photos, I guess, that Demi took with her phone one night when they were out, when her and Stassi were like arguing or whatever. So, yeah, but then they sat down with Lisa and they kind of worked everything out. They talked about everything. So that got resolved. And then, of course, they made up. You know, Demi came. There's a picture of her going to the studio where Stassi was singing, and they made up. They really made up later on when Stassi gave her a little striptease and gave her a little shimmy. You know what I mean? In the boobies. Gave her a little boobie shake. And, of course, she liked that. Yes, she did. And so they made up. And then Demi kind of had a little bit of a moment because she was the only one that watched the cousin porn video. I don't know why Angelica didn't watch it. And I don't know how Demi got the video. Did she pay for it on OnlyFans? Did someone send it to her? That was never really clear. We just, all of a sudden, she has it on her phone and starts watching it. And of course, she doesn't show it to us. So these are just a couple of the pictures of her reacting when she was looking at the video, you know. And then, of course, the next morning, she couldn't even really be near Jason because she was so grossed out, which I totally understand. And so this is her, like, you know, being grossed out, whatever. And then one thing that really did impress me about Demi is that she can handle her liquor, and that is for shit sure, because I don't know, well, I mean, I could tell when she's a little tipsy, but I mean, she handled it very well. And she has this little toy, this little breathalyzer toy thing that she takes around with her everywhere. And so she brought it out as like a fun little thing. Of course, she blew the highest, which was very impressive. And here's a picture. She blew a 0.15, okay, which was the highest. I think everyone else blew like a 0.6 or a 7 or something like that. So kudos to you, girlfriend. And of course, she was very excited about that. Yeah, she's happy to be the #1 drunk. You go, girl. And you know Boozy Bitch is impressed, okay? And then this is just a photo of her, like, when Angelica got her new boobs. She's, like, testing out the new boobs. And this is just maybe a couple of pictures of her and her friendship with Angelica. She stuck up for her when Audrey roasted her at her comedy show. So there's that. And then this is just a couple of pictures of Demi being Demi. She is very gorgeous. And then let's get into some fashion with her as well. So yeah, these are just a couple of photos. So this is like, she's got her little like Asian top or whatever going on there. And then, you know, she's got her little relaxed sports leisure wear. You know, she can basically wear anything. And here's some more pictures of her in white. She looks amazing. And then, yeah, her little top when she went out to the vineyard thing. And then she's got her little, I didn't care for that red dress for some reason. I don't know. It was like a floral, I don't know. It was weird. Yeah, but I called her Bikini Top Demi. All right, and I'm about to show you why, because it seemed like in a lot of scenes she had a bikini top on for whatever reason. And so here you go. Here's one here, Bikini Top Demi. That was actually the first episode when we meet her, and that's where I came up with the name Bikini Top Demi. And here we go, Bikini Top Demi with a little hat on. And here we have Bikini Top Demi again, Bikini Top Demi again. And Bikini Top Demi, or Full Bikini Demi, and Bikini Top Demi. And here we go with the shorts, Bikini Top Demi. And honey, if there's anyone that can pull off a bikini top, it is Demi, okay? And then these are her confessional looks. Let's see. Again, there's only 3. So this first one, I don't know if it's a dress. Like, again, I didn't get the full body for most of it, but I didn't really care for like this top. It was kind of like too dark or whatever, but for camera, it's fine. Then she had this blue number, which looked really good on her and the color was amazing, but it's giving a little too trashy Vegas. You know what I mean? But it does look good in the confessional lights. So yeah, okay, I'll say that's probably, I like it. I think she looks good in blue. And then her last but not least, her pink, which I thought again was a bikini top, but it actually is a dress. And you can see the full length here, which it's kind of giving 80s. It's giving 80s vibe. I mean, I didn't get the memo. Is the 80s back? I don't know. I'm kind of seeing it everywhere, but anyway. So yeah, so that's Demi. So kudos to Demi. All right, we want to see you back next time, and I want a storyline next time. Like, let's see your new boyfriend. She has a new boyfriend now, and apparently that he used to be the general manager for Sir. So that could be a storyline. You never know. Maybe there's some drama there or not. Maybe they ride off into the sunset. Who knows? But they said that they might bring some new cast members on to add to this group. So, and I'm thinking that's because maybe Demi, maybe there's some cast members, maybe Dawson's not coming back, maybe, who knows, but I can see why they might want to add a few people to the bunch, because there are a few that aren't as interesting as the others. So I can totally understand that. All right, so who should we do next? All right, let's do Audrey. All right, Audrina. No, not Audrina, that's the Hills. All right, Audrey girl. Audrey was a sweetheart. I mean, we loved her right away. She's bisexual, okay? We love that. She had like a whole full-on relationship with a girl, So, all right, let's put some pictures up. There we go. Audrey. Oh, she's gorgeous. Look at her, man. She's beautiful. And she kind of came in strong with the whole, like, I want to do everything. I mean, she was a rollerblader, right? Not a very good one, as you can see. She fell. And then, of course, when she was 11, she was like a dancer and a singer and a tap dancer. And then she wants to be like a movie star and an actress. You know what I mean? Here's her movie with Shane, I guess, her little cameo. And they're making out on the beach, and she looks hot. He looks great. I mean, it's a great scene. So, yeah, she wants to be an actress. And then, of course, she wants to be a comedian as well. Yeah. And so here are some pictures of her being a comedian for her little stand-up gig when she basically tore into Angelica. So, yeah, there's that. So, basically, I'm sure you've heard the saying, Jack of all trade, master of none, right? So that basically means if you can do everything, you can't do one thing. You can do it all, but you can't do one thing right? That kind of thing. So, yeah, Audrey, pick something, honey. Pick something, all right? Be a comedian. You're kind of good at that. Then she had a birthday. And she gets a dance from Dawson and Jason, who used to be strippers. We'll get into that later. And here's some pictures of them giving her a lap dance on her birthday, when they all went out to the bar. And thank God, I have to say, thank God they did that, because otherwise this would have been the worst birthday ever, because all they did was go to a bar, and then Kim and Stasili were like crying and fighting in the background. So nobody cared about her birthday. Nobody was partying. Nobody was like, and none of that. It was just crying and fighting and arguing. So if it wasn't for Dawson and Jason giving her this dance, she wouldn't have had a birthday party. Okay? And so Audrey girl, and then we have some more pictures. She made out with Venus, and she made out with Stasili, of course. And yes, she's just fun, you know. Here she is making a cheers, and she's just cute. She's quirky. She's lovable. She's a girl's girl, as Audrey would say. And here's a picture. Take the high road. Remember that? Take the high road. Yeah. And then this is her little date that she had with Angelica, or her little girl date with Angelica, where they were kikiing, and she actually ends up telling her about the penis pump, about how she went over to Dawson and Jason's house and she used the bathroom, and that's where she found the penis pump. And so that's where that whole thing started. And then, of course, they went from friends really quick to enemies really quick. Because after she told Angelica, Angelica went and told Lisa. So that was super embarrassing. And so here are some photos of just, you know, of that whole situation, her arguing with Angelica. And then they kind of had a talk when they went on the whole wine weekend trip. You know, they had another talk. And so they made up. And so those are, you know, pictures of them, like they made up or whatever. And so then we get into Dawson. You know, they were flirty in the beginning, you know, but they kind of went into a relationship very quickly. And yeah, this is just her hanging out with Dawson and their little relationship. And then, you know, she started to see some red flags, obviously. I mean, during the wine weekend, she overheard a conversation of him telling, you know, his cousin that he wants to fuck mad bitches when he goes to Thailand or Bali or wherever the hell he's going. So you can see here are some pictures of her kind of getting hip to the program and understanding that there's some red flags here. You know, and so they have a conversation. This is them having a conversation. And so she kind of likes the way he handled the whole phone situation. He apologized. He said that obviously because him and Audrey are in a new relationship, he had this trip planned months and months ago. So, you know, she agreed that, you know, it had nothing really to do with her. So they made up. Then she found out about the OnlyFans video. And here's some pictures of her freaking out over that, you know, which obviously I understand. But what I didn't understand is that she was freaking out more with Angelica and not with Dawson. And she actually didn't even ask him any questions, which I thought was very bizarre. And she didn't watch the video. That would have been the first thing that I do. If I heard that, I don't care how much that fucking video is. As a matter of fact, no, you're my boyfriend. You're showing me for free. Fuck that. Okay, like, are you crazy? I want to see that video. Like, what the hell is he doing in that shit? Let me decide. Okay? So, these are pictures of her just basically freaking out. And then this is her on the bus of them going home. And you could see she's obviously thinking, like, I need a moment, right? I need some space. And then, you know, talk about things already being planned. They already had their Harry Potter date planned. So, they go to, like, Disney World or Universal Studios or wherever, and they go to the Harry Potter thing. And so that's their date. And so they have fun and whatnot. But then Audrey has a conversation with him after, and these are the pictures where she basically tells him, like, I don't think that this is going to work out. You know what I mean? I think there's some red flags here, and I'm not sure if you're really in this because you like me and you're authentic, you know? And so she breaks it off with him. Only to go out a couple of nights later, and Dawson, as you can see in these photos, just has a few words with her, and the next thing you know, they're back on, right? And then you could see Audrey's roommate in the background. It's just what I thought was hilarious. is listening to everything he's saying, and he's like, are you fucking for real? Give me a break, right? And so I thought that was hilarious. And so there's his reaction in the background. And so they get back together only to then have a last and final date, which Dawson, kudos to you, because this is my dream date right here. He made her a fucking chicken and mozzarella and tomato and basil sandwich on focaccia bread, because I remember everything. I don't even need to see the picture. With homemade french fries, okay, with champagne and a strawberry in it. Honey, you're speaking my language, okay? But he did get her some flowers, and unfortunately, she has a tattoo on her arm of her favorite flower. Don't ask me what kind it is. I have no watercress, some fucking shit I never heard of, okay? But it's on her arm, and he got a bunch of tulips. So that would have been a great, sweet gesture, but she actually thought it was another red flag because he should have known, especially since they slept together, he should have known what her favorite flower is since she had it tattooed on her arm, right? Okay, so that was kind of a thing. So there's the picture for that. And in that picture also, he breaks up with her. He doesn't break up, but he basically tells her, like, I'm going to be traveling a lot and, like, I'm not going to have time for you. You know what I mean? And so if we could just keep this casual, that would be nice. Which would be fine, except that he just got finished telling her in the last photo I showed you, professing his heart to her and saying how he wants to be with her and he wants to make it work. So that was total bullshit, and we all knew it. And then they go to Pride, and here's another picture where they talk about it again, because when they had that initial conversation at his house in the previous picture in the sandwich date, she basically said, okay, but inside she was dying. So in this picture, in their conversation here at the Pride event at SUR, she basically says, no, like, I was kind of in shock, so I just kind of went with it. But actually, I'm not cool with being in a casual relationship. Like, if you're going to go travel and you're going to meet and then he said he wanted to meet somebody else, or he could meet somebody else. So she was basically like, if you meet someone else, then you need to do that now. Like, it's either me or you meet somebody else. And so they broke up again, right? And so that's their conversation here. And so that's Audrey. Here's just a couple of shots of Audrey, and let's get into her style a little bit, her fashion. So her fashion is, she's just like us, guys. She's the girl next door. Like, she doesn't really have fashion or style, which I like. You know what I mean? She looks good in anything. She's just your typical blonde. She's beautiful. She's got a banging body again. And Audrey's body is natural, might I add, too. She's the only one on the show. At least I think. I think so. From what I can see, it does look... She has real boobs and a real ass, right? And so she looks good. All right, so here's a couple of pictures. And, that's when she was moving with her little overalls and whatnot, her little hanging with the boys t-shirt, hanging with the boys. And then she's got her little sunglasses, her little bikini top. Yeah, I mean, again, like, she could literally wear anything. She's got these little tops, these little fitted tops. She's got one in two colors, I guess, of cream and gray. And then I like this look right here. This is the look where she went for the date, where he breaks up with her. But I like this. It was giving, like, sexy secretary or something, or like, businesswoman on the edge with a little bit of an edge or something, like, I like it. And then this is just her everyday hanging out at the house with the roomies, whatever. And then I really like this dress that she wore for her comedy show. I thought that was kind of cool. I like her in gray. I like the off the shoulder look. And then here you go right here. Okay. Now this is the money shot. This is the money shot. Audrey, you definitely have that 50s old school pinup girl vibe, which is gorgeous. I still to this day think it's the sexiest thing on the planet. And they weren't super skinny either. They were like Marilyn Monroe size. They were like size 12, 14. So very voluptuous body, but big curls and the whole nine. So in this picture, you can see the big curls or whatever. And then look at here and look at here with the blue eyeshadow. It's giving very Marilyn Monroe, very 50s and that kind of, maybe that's what she was going for. And then here's her modeling for Lisa, little merch promo, you know what I mean? And Dawson was there as well, doing a little merch promo. And then here she is. This is the money shot. This is the money shot. I have to say, no offense to the other girls, but Audrey definitely pulled off Angelica's swim bathing suit line the best. Okay, because first of all, nobody can fit in that thing. Nobody can fit in that thing. Even the hottest, sexiest, skinniest, whatever female, you would literally have to have no boobs, no nothing to fit in this thing, and let alone be comfortable or anything like that. So they all pulled it off really well. All the girls look super hot in it. But I do have to say that Audrey looked really good in it. She probably looked the best because it just, I mean, she's all natural. And I mean, not an ounce of fat, honey. Not an ounce of fat. That body is just flawless. And so here she is at the Pride thing. This was her outfit for Pride to go work at SUR. And I mean, again, she sexy cowgirl, you know, goes to Vegas maybe or whatever. And so this is the thing. Audrey's from Texas, right? Same place Venus is from, you know. That's why they hooked up immediately as friends. So she's always going to have the cowgirl. The cowgirl's in her, right? So here we go. You got the cowgirl hat. And here she is being a cowgirl. And here she is being a cowgirl. Yes, honey, cowgirl realness. And so, yeah, those are just a few of her looks. And so now we'll get into the confessional looks. And she had this yellow number, which I think, even though it's kind of tacky and cheesy and cheap looking, she looks amazing in yellow. And why is that? Because she definitely gives me Kate Hudson vibes in How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days. She actually says it on the show. In one of the episodes when she was going for a yellow dress, she says that it makes her look like Kate Hudson from How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days. So anyway, she looks really good in yellow. And there's the shot, there's the picture of her with the tattoo of whatever flower that is, okay, on her arm. And then she's got this blue number, which is completely giving Jersey trash. I mean, it's just Jersey trash realness, right? It's like, it's giving, I just slept with Bon Jovi and I don't give a shit that he's fucking 65 years old, okay? That's what it's giving, honey. I mean, the hair is teased and it's just the blue with the boobies hanging out. I mean, it's just, it's trash. It's 80s. It's like old school heavy metal. Actually, I'm kind of here for it. Yeah, because it makes me miss those days. You know what I mean? I'm from that generation, so I kind of miss the whole heavy metal trash look. But anyway, you know, the Christina Applegate Married with Children kind of look. You know, my generation will understand. Okay, and then we have the next, her last look, which is, I don't like it. It's like brown. I don't like her in that color, brown. And it's just boobies are like hanging out once again, but this time not in a good way. Yeah, this time not in a good way. It's just like giving, I threw on a piece of fabric and we taped it together. That's what it's giving. And so that's Audrey. Yay, Audrey. All right, let's do Kim next. What do you think? Sorry, guys, this is going on really long. I didn't realize. I'm just going as I see it. So I'm really sorry if this is going on too long. And if it really is going on too long, you know, fast forward. No, don't fast forward. But anyway, all right. So Kimmy. All right. So, and I hope you guys are able to see the pictures that are scrolling there. Anyway. Okay. So we have Kim, and of course, we learn immediately, before we even know what she does at SUR, we learn immediately that she is going out with Marcus. Okay, so here's the pictures. And they're in a deep, serious relationship immediately. And that's why she gets into it with Stasili immediately, because on the first night of them all going out, that's when she hugged Marcus and she finds out about the text messages, whatever. So immediately she gets jealous, and her and Stasili are fighting immediately. And Marcus, look at him. He just gets up. He doesn't give a shit. He walks away, and then she starts crying, and it's the whole thing. And then she gets into it with Stasili. But then, of course, they make up. And then the next day, she sobers up and doesn't remember even talking to Stasli. And so they're arguing again. And that's basically all her relationships. Poor Kim, because that's her relationship with Marcus. They get together, they get drunk, they fight, they break up. The next day, they don't remember, they make up, they love each other again. Okay? Very, very toxic relationship. And for anybody who's ever been in a relationship like this, it's like there's nothing you can do. Your friends can't tell you what to do. They can't tell you to break up. They can't tell you to stay together. You're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. Because I've been in the situation where I'm the friend, right? And I had it both ways. I was like, told her how it is. Break up with him. You don't need him, right? What happens? She breaks up. Then they get back together. I'm on the out, right? Then I was in the situation where I told her to stay with the guy. That it's not that big of a deal, right? And I don't think it's as bad as you think. Stay with him. Of course, she breaks up with him. And so that caused something, So that's what I mean. You're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. So if you do have a friend that's in a toxic relationship, all you can say is, I'm here for you. And so you could either be her friend or you can pause and be like, I'll be friends with you again when you break up with so-and-so, which could never be, that could be 10 years from now. You never know. But at least you have the choice to either be there for your friend through the bullshit or just don't be there for her, because there is no in between, because that will cause a rift between you and your friend. Because ultimately, when you're in a toxic relationship, that's all that matters. People can tell you what to do until the cows come home, and they can give you really, really good advice. But at the end of the day, you're going to go back. You're going to go back. So that's it for that. So that's basically Kim and Marcus's relationship. And so here are some pictures of that. And there are some sweet pictures of them, and so these are just, I'm showing you a few of their relationship, and this was them working out together, whatever. And then this was when they had their little conversation about moving in together, which I already thought they lived together, so I was confused about that. And then something weird happens, which, in this conversation right here, where they're sitting on the couch and he asked to move in and all that, is that she wanted to stop taking birth control, which she was saying that she wasn't trying to get pregnant, but it's obviously if you stop taking birth control, there's a high chance you're going to get pregnant. So she basically wants to get pregnant. And that's the worst thing you can do. Because number one, neither one of them have money. They work at Sir. He's a DJ. That's not going to happen. Okay. And then number two, they drink too much. They fight too much. It's not going to happen. Okay. And that's basically what everybody said in the reunion, right? They basically said, listen, if you guys can stay together for at least more than a year, then we'll talk. But you guys can't stay together for more than a week, and you're talking about having kids. It's ridiculous. And you're not married. You don't even live together. So yeah, crazy. But not saying that you have to be married to have a kid, but you get what I mean. A more, at least be together for 5 years. I mean, what I mean? Something have more of a foundation, you know what I mean, first. And like Venus said, stick with it. You know what I mean? Don't just break up and then 2 days later decide you're going to have a kid. Stay together for at least 2 years before you decide that, right? That's what Venus meant. So yeah, so this is them, more pictures of them and their relationship. And all right, so let's get into some, that was cute of them when they fell asleep on the bus. Oh, how cute. And you know why they did that? Because Angelica was too busy talking fucking Shane's ear off. Shane was looking for someone else to bail him out. And then he looks in the back and here's these two fast out. So yeah, I remember that episode. But anyway, so here's some fashion looks of Kim, I mean, it's kind of conservative, you know what I mean, which fits her, but she did have some sexy numbers. I mean, she did go for it a little bit, she had this cute little top, which I liked. Where is it? Yeah, see, that's cute. And then, yeah, let's see. I mean, it was basically just workout gear, you know, kind of stuff. But yeah, and I really like this brown dress with the hat. That was really cool. Yeah. And then, ooh, no, honey, this jean skirt. I mean, it wasn't even cool when I wore it in the late 80s, in the early 90s, but it's definitely not cool today. Okay, the jean skirt thing is definitely not coming back. And if it is, don't tell me. I don't want to know. All right. And then, let's see. And I kind of liked her in these cute little sunglasses. This was definitely a cute, that's why I put this picture in here, because it was kind of, I was feeling it for her. It was kind of a little moment for her. So I'll give that to her. And then these are her confessional looks. She's got, I could not see anything because her hair is covering everything. So this first dress, I believe it was like a pink dress, I guess. I don't, we can barely see it. And then here you have like this leather thing. I'm sorry guys, but that's all I could find. There really wasn't any pictures where you could actually see her outfit, except for this number, the last number, which was just like a spaghetti top, string, whatever. But I liked it because I liked her hair, I liked her earrings, and you could see more of it. All right, so that's Kim. Okay. So now, all right, let's go through this a little bit faster now. All right, so we got Angelica. Let's do Angelica. All right. So Angelica shows up, and her first day, she basically stumbled in, right? She tripped over, like, coming in, you know, which was hilarious. So that's, you can't plan that, right? So what an entrance. And so, and here's Lisa introducing her. And then we find out that she's a martial artist, which was bullshit, because when she went on her date with Jason, we found out that wasn't true. But apparently we have this picture of her doing a high kick when she was interviewing with Lisa to become a work at Sir. And here she is doing her little high kick. Okay. And then here's her with Audrey meeting the girls for the first time, meeting Kim. And Kim is supposed to train her and show her the ways, right? Which is hilarious because she doesn't do that. She kind of is annoyed that she even has to. But nonetheless, Angelica becomes friends with Kim. And this is them just kind of hanging out at her apartment and whatnot. And yeah, because we learned that Angelica lives with her ex-boyfriend. Hello, we didn't know that. That was weird because she's dating and she's still living with her ex. And then we find out she's still sleeping with her ex, right? Because she tells Jason. And so, and then in comes Jason. So she meets Jason and he basically tells her that he's single. And so they, like, this is the picture here where they're at the pool party and, you know, they're vibing and he tells her that he's single. But then they make plans to, like, hang out that night and then he ditches her. So then this picture is them having a conversation about that, about how she was, like, excited to hang out, but then he ditched her. But then he tells her that he didn't really ditch her, you know, that he just, whatever, had something else to do. I don't know. That's the thing with Angelica. She falls for guys really quickly, right? So as soon as she met Jason, she falls for him, you know? And then when they go on this jujitsu date or whatever, he beats the shit out of her apparently, right? And so, and he really hurts her back to the point where, like, you know, she gets really upset and she has to go to a doctor and get her back checked out and the whole thing. Then the next day, she tells, here's her having a conversation with Jason, and she basically calls it off. She's like, I don't think this is going to work out, whatever. And then in that same, then that night, she comes into the bar looking like freaking Chung-Li, right? Like looking like she's ready to kick ass and all that, right? Yeah, and then basically breaks up with him. He was kind of confused. He was like, I thought your back was hurt and all that. So anyway, more importantly, right after that, she goes for Shane. And here's some pictures of her going for Shane. And then what was funny with that is that Jason sees this and Dawson sees this, and then Dawson comes and interrupts him, which was hilarious because he's, you know, he's trying to stick up for his cousin and whatnot. So he comes and interrupts him, which I thought was hilarious. And then here's the iconic kiss of Angelica and Shane kissing under the disco ball, right? For the first time, because they have another kiss under the disco ball. So then she, has the conversation with Audrey where Audrey tells her about the penis pump. So then she goes and she tells Lisa. And so here's a picture of her telling Lisa. And then here's them like on the photo shoot day where they were modeling for the promotion for the merch, for Lisa's merch. She blurts out, penis pump or whatever. And so she thought that was funny. Obviously, Jason didn't think that was funny. But then after that, she goes out on a date with Shane. And this is where he tells her that he has a small dick and that he has erectile dysfunction, right? So I don't know. And he doesn't want to be monogamous. That's what I don't understand, Shane. But we'll get into that when we get into Shane. So, of course, this breaks Angelica's heart, but it doesn't stop her from trying to pursue him. So she just kind of blocks that out and still pursues him. And so they have a kiss. And this picture right here, this was the kiss that apparently her and her boyfriend were arguing in Sir. This was on the TV, So anyway, then, of course, the famous, she gets the information about the videotape, the OnlyFans videotape. And this is her at the wine weekend retreat where she finds it out. And then this is her arguing with Jason about it. And he gets really embarrassed. And she argues with Audrey about it. And then she tries to run, because Shane runs away. He realizes, he's like, no, this is drama. And so he runs away. And she basically goes and follows him at the arcade room to basically tell him, what's going on back there, and he wants nothing to do with it. He's like, listen, that has nothing got to do with me. You deal with that. And so that causes kind of a rift between them, and he's starting to see that this is too much drama, and he doesn't want to be in a relationship anyway. And so this is them on the bus, on the ride back. It's just super awkward. And then, of course, Audrey, because she's crying, so Audrey, consoles her, and she's just like, listen, everything's good between you and me. Forget about this tape and this video, whatever, right? And so they kind of make up. But then Shane realizes that this isn't going to work. So he breaks up with her. And these are the photos right here. He basically lets her know, this isn't going to work out. You know what I mean? And then of course she says, okay. And then she was going to go to sleep. And then he goes to the hot tub to be alone. But when he goes to the hot tub, he sees the whole rest of the cast is there pretty much. And then lo and behold, 2 minutes later, Angelica comes in. So she follows him to the hot tub. But she didn't know that there was other people there, neither did he. So here are some pictures of that, where here she comes right back and she gets into the hot tub. Obviously, he's awkward and he's like, oh God. He's like, I guess I'm going to have to break up with her again since she didn't hear me the first time. So then she goes to whine about it to Demi, and there's a picture there, and Demi's just like, girl, go to bed, right? And then he realizes the next day he tries to lock the door. That night he locks the door to prevent her from coming in because he thinks that she's gonna follow him to the bedroom to fuck him or something or whatever. So he locks the door. And then the next morning she texts him and she's like, why did you lock the door? And blah, 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 right? So anyway, that was a whole thing. So they broke up, and then she goes and gets a boob job. Angelica, yep, she gets a boob job. So she's off the show for a couple episodes. Then she comes back, and of course, who's the first person she goes to is Shane. And so they have a little talk out back. And of course, he's kind of ropes her back in because he sees the boobies and this and that, And then here's some pictures of her when she goes to something about her to have a conversation with Stasely. She finds out that Stasely's kind of been hanging out with Shane and they've been talking and everything. So Angelica doesn't like that. So she basically says, well, that's interesting because Shane told me that you guys are just friends and he doesn't want to go with you because you talk too long or something like that. Something weird. It was obviously meant to be shady, but it wasn't. But she thought that it was, and Stasely picked up on it, and she was just like, girl, if you thought that was being shady, it didn't work, and it's stupid. So, of course, Angelica makes up with Shane at Pride, and then they end up kissing and hooking up again, right? As he said at the reunion. And so then there's that. So here's just some pictures. Let's get into some fashion. And so, yeah, these are just some looks. And yeah, apparently she's a quad mommy or whatever. And then, of course, as we know, that she came out with her own bikini line, which is really hard to do, by the way. So anybody who's trying to come out with their own fashion line or make their own anything is extremely hard. So I'm going to give her more kudos to her than to Stassi in her singing career, because at least with Angelica, she actually has prototypes. She actually has bikinis. Like, they all wore them for Pride. She has them in photos. Here's some photos here of her wearing the bikinis and everything. And then these are the photos where she gets all the other girls to try them on, as you can see. And they all look banging, but I mean, you can't, this is like porno. You can't wear that in real life. You could only wear that at Pride, right? So thanks to the gays. Thank you to the gays, right? That you can wear this kind of shit. All right, so that was at Pride, and she wore it really well with the new boobs and all, I have to say. So even though I think the bathing suit is very tacky and I would never wear it in a million years, I couldn't wear it in a million years, even if I had the body to pull it off. They're not fitting in there, honey. No. Okay? And so, but she looks great in it, I will say that. And then this was questionable. I mean, this is when she went to go meet Shane on the beach for their little date. She was in boots, a jean jacket, and a jean skirt. Very confused. Honey, you are in California, okay? You're not in Texas. You're not in Arizona. You're not in Colorado. You know, you are in California. It's flip-flops. It's flowy dresses. It's bikinis. That's it. Like Bikini Top Demi. Go to Bikini Top Demi. She will inform you on how to dress as a California girl, okay? Because you clearly didn't get the memo. All right, and then she's got this blue number here. I mean, again, these women are all very pretty, so they can wear anything. You know, I'm just nitpicking at some fashion here, but because, I mean, she looks great in anything. But I'm just saying, if we're going to pick at the fashion, I don't like this, right? And then here's her pink dress here. This was right after she had her boobs done, so clearly she didn't go dress shopping yet, because this looks like something that a 5-year-old could wear, okay? And then here's a nice, ooh, she looks good here. A nice little black slinky dress. She looks good. And then I like this number. This is when she's at the comedy show. I like this little dress. I'm not sure, is that jean or I don't know what it is, but I like it. And then here's her confessional looks. You know, she had some good confessional looks. And I mean, she had more confessional looks because she was gone and she had got her boobs done. So she had a few. So this was the first one. And I love that color. I love that like wine, maroon, red kind of color. And it looks good on her. And, but we didn't get to see the full thing. So I don't know if it's a dress or a top or what. And then this one right here. This was clearly after she got her boobies done. And yeah, and I mean, this one I don't like because it just looks like a bikini top. It looks like Vegas. It looks like toga party. No, but again, she's pretty. She looks great in it. Now, this look I definitely don't like because what the hell, right? I mean, the color, I love that brown on her. It looks, that chocolate brown looks great, but what the hell is that gold chain around your neck, honey? Like, what is going on? Are you Mr. T? I mean, is this like, are you a homegirl now? Is it like, what? I don't understand this big gold chain. You're not a rapper. You know, it's not that kind of deal. So this actually could have been good if we got rid of the chain, right? Okay, then last but not least, we have this little silver number, which I like it. I like the color. I like the way it looks against her skin, except I don't like the fit, right? Because obviously she just had her boobs done, and I think that's what she wanted, for them to be spilling out all over the place, but I just think it's a bit too tight. It's just too tight. You can have the boobies coming out, but it's just like it looks like you press them all the way the fuck up to your chin or your face, right? So that doesn't look flattering. And that is Angelica. All right, guys, that is it for the girls. All right, so now let's get into the guys. And I'm gonna need a cigarette for this one. And Midnight, I'm gonna need another drink, because like we might need to do a third drink here, because this, you know, I'm just kind of babysitting this second drink. But like we might need a third to get into these boys here, because these boys are a mess. All right. Who are we going to do first? Let's do Marcus. He's easy. Okay. So, Marcus, darling. All right. So, he's actually the very first, I mean, this is probably useless information that you guys don't care about, but he was the first one on camera. Okay. And he wasn't actually on camera. It was his back. So here's the very first picture of our very first Vanderpumper, right? Which was Marcus. And there was his back turned. And what was he serving? Yes, you guessed it. Goat cheese balls, of course. And what do we learn about Marcus right straight away? Yeah, that he's a server, but that he's a drinker. We know that right away. We learn that right away, right? And why is that? Is because he's taking shots at work in the kitchen. Yeah, I remember those days. I used to do that too. But not on camera. Yeah. And I wouldn't say I was proud of it at the time. I may say it now, but at the time I'm like, what are you talking about? I don't fucking know what. I've never had a drink in my life. You know, but here he's obviously showing it on the camera, and then obviously maybe for a storyline, maybe to get something, but you wouldn't do this in real life, obviously. So here he is drinking on the job, and oh look, he even stores it, look, in little coffee cups in the refrigerator to be crafty. You know, that is actually crafty. I didn't think of that one. No, I just had my little stash in the back. I didn't even go for the fridge idea, but you know, hey, you learn something every day. And this is what ultimately got him in trouble also, and got him fake fired, because you know she hired him right back right away. But anyway, yeah, so, and then of course we learn, just like we learned with Kim straight away, that he's in a relationship with Kim, right? And here's some pictures, and then here's the hug that he had with Stasely that drove Kim absolutely insane. Yes, we have to show it once again. And then here's where it went south again, where he's arguing with Kim that first night, and he told her he fell out of love with her and all this crazy shit, only to get back with her the next day and say that he loves her so much, and that we're all crazy because we heard him say that he fell out of love. And so it's on the cast and not him. That's basically what he said. He said, you know, don't take what I say seriously. I was drunk, blah, blah, blah. But anyway, right? So, and then here's him talking to Venus about it. And then this is when he got fake fired by Lisa. Yeah. And then, of course, she hires him back. And this was kind of sad. This was touching, because when she hires him back, we learned that both his parents were deceased, which I didn't know. None of us knew. And so that I thought was very interesting, and very sad, very, very sad, because he's so young. And I mean, most people don't maybe lose one parent at that age, but you normally don't lose both your parents at that age. It's so young. And so that was very devastating to find out, and very real. You know, I mean, that's a major thing to deal with. And now maybe I understand why he drinks so much, you know, but that he's got to look out for that, because you can get real comfortable drinking a lot, you know what I'm saying? And that's going to go down a really bad road. And although it would be great for TV and it'd be a great storyline for next season, I do think that Marcus needs to slow down on the drinking just a little bit, especially if he wants to be a dad himself. Yeah, that's not going to work. But I can understand why he's drinking, is because he's probably at a crossroads in his life where he doesn't know what the fuck to do with Sir. He doesn't know what to do with his life. His parents are dead. He's in this relationship with Kim that can be kind of toxic at times. So he turns to the drink, you know what I mean? But obviously it got him fired, you know, and so it can get you in trouble. But he got hired back because, you know, Lisa feels for him. And so here's some pictures of his dad and his mom. And so here's a picture of his dad. His dad was black, I guess. That's what he says. I mean, he looks mixed, but he says he's black, he's black. And then here's his mom, who he says is white, but she definitely looks like she has some Asian influence in there somewhere. She also looks like she could be mixed, but he says she's white, so we'll go with that as well. And so, yeah, so Lisa, you know, feels for him. And just like all the other toxic men on her show in the past, she lets them know that the door is open at any time, darling, and I'm here for you if you need me. You know what I mean? Of course. And then here's a picture of Marcus's brother, who came and went. He was on one episode. They went out for a pint, of course, and then that's it. He was gone. And so, but that's his brother. I put the picture in there. And then this is Marcus, as we know, Marcus the model. That, you know, which I think he should go back to, as a matter of fact. I don't think he should work at Sir. I definitely don't think he should be a DJ. I mean, come on. You know, but I think that he should be a model, because See, here's the thing. All right, let's look at these pictures here. Okay, Marcus he's well, we'll get into the fashion later, but these pictures right here, it's like you can tell he's a natural. There are people who are really good looking, like Shane is good looking, right? And he says he's a model, but I wouldn't think he is, you know what I mean? Other than the fact that he's good looking. But when I look at Marcus, he may not be, he's very good looking, but like he might not be like, let's say Shane is better looking, right? But Marcus looks more like a model. Does that make sense? Like he breathes it, he lives it, he looks it, he walks it, he dresses like it. He's just a model, right? And you can make a lot of money being a model. So that's why I say if he wants to be a dad and he wants to get away from the drinking, I think he should stick with modeling. Because if he ends up being a DJ, he's going to go full force into the drinking, right? Because that's what you do as a DJ. You drink, right? But anyway, so let's get into these. And speaking of drinking, here's some pictures. If you don't believe me, here we go. And I'm sorry, Marcus, but I have to do this to you because it's true. I mean, it was the whole fucking season. So here we go. Marcus drinking, loving his pints. Yeah, you see that? Loves his pints. And he really loves his bottle of wine here. And then here he was drunk, good old drunk Marcus. We love a drunk Marcus. And then here he is drinking at work. Okay. Yeah, he has several drinks. So, and then let's get into the fashion. All right, so this is what I've been talking about is he's just a natural model. You know what I mean? But actually before we do that, just because he's in this picture with Venus, you know, him and Venus had a falling out because of Kim. Because basically Venus was trying to advise Marcus about Kim and to give him some good advice, basically. But he didn't take it, you know, and actually he got offended. And then he got offended that Venus went and talked to Kim about it and thought that maybe that they should take a break and whatever, yada, yada. So they had a falling out. And so these are a few pictures of them just kind of arguing. And then, of course, they had to work together after that. So this is them giving having to walk past each other, give each other a little fuck you or whatever. And then this is Marcus like trying to be bad for like a second and like put the hand in Venus's face and is like, you can't talk to me like that, Venus. You can't talk to me like that. And then here they are kissing and making up. Because that's what models do. They kiss, they make up. You know what I mean? And then here's, this is when Marcus tells Lisa that he wants to be a DJ. And I already just got finished saying that wrong path, Marcus, wrong path. But you look cute as a DJ. You look good behind there. But of course you do because you're a model, right? So, but yeah, DJing I don't think is good for Marcus, especially when he's a drinker, right? So I think that's a really bad career choice. And then here's a picture of Marcus and his guitar. We learned that he could play guitar, kind of, sort of. He's not a really good singer. He was singing a little bit. He can't sing. And we didn't really hear too much of the guitar skills, but I can tell by the way he's holding it that he knows how to play. So that's interesting. And then this is basically him and Shane were friends before the show. So that was one relationship that we know is authentic because, you know, him and Shane have known each other for probably like 10 or 11 years. So that's kind of how they both got into the show. And so here's some pictures of Marcus and Shane like hanging out one day. And this is where Shane basically tells Marcus, which Marcus already knows, so I guess it's for the show. He tells him that, you know, he was a drug addict and that his parents, and, you know, we'll get into that when we get into Shane, but he basically tells him all about that and about why he's sober now and all of that. So Marcus was a good friend to Shane, you know. But Marcus is devious. He's got a devious side, and he likes to rile things up. And so here are some pictures of him with that devilish, devious look when he likes to rile things up. And he definitely liked to rile things up between Kim and Stasely because I think he instigated a couple of fights there when it was over, kind of thing. You know what I mean? So this is Marcus and his little devilish looks, you know. All right, so fashion. All right, so like I said, Marcus is a model, and what that means is that he can wear anything. And what I mean by anything, he can wear a paper bag, and it looks like a designer He can wear, that's what models do. Shane cannot do that. That's why I don't think, Shane is very good looking and he's a model as well, so he says. But a true model is somebody who could literally wear anything. And also, Marcus has the height and he has the body. Now, Shane is tall, but he's disproportionate, you know. Usually models have a long, like long torso, right? Very long torso and long legs, right? And so you can see here with Marcus's body, you know, here he is. So here's some more shot. That was him modeling for Lisa's merch. And then here's some looks of Marcus just walking, showing up to the pub, of course. Where's he going to? He's going to the pub, of course. But as you can see by the way he walks, and you can see, I mean, even these corny ass shorts that he has on and that ugly peach top, I mean, he still looks like a model, you know? So that's what I mean by he walks like a model, he looks like one, he's got the body of one, the face of one, everything, okay? So get back into it, Marcus, all right? That's where the money is. That's where, you know, if you and Kim want to stay together and have a kid, that's what you should do. You'll make a shit ton of money, all right? And now these are his confessional looks. And once again, he can wear anything. So this first look I don't really like. It's a little too conservative, but it looks good on him. And then here we go again with like, I like this red top and the jacket, but it's too conservative, right? So I would say that my favorite look is this look here, this last look, this blue top. It's just, I can tell by the material, it's kind of like a suede-y, silky kind of joint, and it looks really good on him. It brings out his blue eyes, which I didn't even realize he had blue eyes until like the end of the season. And yeah, he looks good here. All right, and so that is it from Marcus. So now we might as well get into Shane, since we were talking about him. So, yeah, Shane. What can I say? Here's some pictures of Shane. And yeah, I mean, he made it very clear that he doesn't work at SUR. But we also saw that he works at SUR. I mean, he's there. He was there every day, hanging out, you know. So you might as well just give him an apron and put him in the kitchen or something and give him a paycheck, which is kind of what Lisa did. I mean, she gave him a paycheck for being on the show and for modeling here and there. But basically, he was like a non-employee employee. Okay? The non-SUR worker that worked at SUR kind of thing. All right, and of course, we found out right away that he has a horrendous laugh. I mean, nobody should laugh like that. He says that that's how hot boys laugh, and I said, no, Shane, that is not how hot boys laugh. That is not how any boy should laugh, right? It's not good. And even if you are attractive and good looking, it does not negate the laugh, right? The laugh actually makes it worse. But anyway, so those are a couple of pictures here. And then immediately he comes in with a chick to kind of make Stasely jealous, right? Because he likes Stasely. But he makes it clear right away that he is not monogamous and that he is dating multiple women, right? So he makes that clear. So here, and then here's a picture where this was actually the same day. So he invited this chick over to his house, and then she had to go, and then he had another chick come over in the same night, because you can see he's wearing the same clothes, and then I guess that chick he ended up taking upstairs, you can see by the picture, he ended up taking that chick upstairs too, right? And so, yeah, so he was trying to show you early on that he's a playboy, that he's not monogamous, and so on, right? But he kind of tries to go for it with Stasely. And so they go out on a date. They go on the stupid, dumb rock climbing date, which was his idea, which was so stupid. And then, of course, we learn about Stasely's back. And so that gives Shane an opportunity to tell Stasely that he got shot 57 times, or 9 times, 10 times, 11, however many fucking times, right? I don't know if it was a BB gun or a real gun or whatever it was. But here are some pictures of his bullet holes, his shot wounds or whatever, that he has turned into tattoos. So he basically tattooed over all his bullet holes that went through his body or whatever. And he obviously has a nice body and he has nice abs. So obviously this is a way for him to show women his body, while also telling them a badass story about how he got shot and all this crazy shit, right? So obviously that's kind of his MO, and he told Stasely. It didn't impress her, right? She actually, which I told you, she said that he was boring, and you can tell by his face right here that he was shocked by that. He probably doesn't hear that often, but she told him he was boring nonetheless. And then he tried to tell this story to this other girl that he, on that night, you can see him taking off the shirt. So he tells, so again, it's his MO. He tells all the girls about how he got shot 100 times and these are his bullet wounds or whatever, right? Okay, and then he is a movie maker. You know, he does scary movies or some shit like that, whatever. And so here are some pictures. Here's a picture with him and Audrey, because they did this like music video or some shit together. And obviously there's some pictures there. I showed you when we did Audrey. And then, you know, and then he went straight from Stasely to Angelica, right? Which he wasn't really expecting, but she kind of dropped off in his lap that same day that she broke up with Jason. So he said, fuck it, why not, right? So here's some pictures of him and Angelica. So, and then of course, we all know what happened. He went out on a date with Angelica and he ended up in her lap talking about how he has erectile dysfunction, but they kiss anyway. And then she tells him, Shane was the first one that Angelica tells him, these are the pictures right here in the hot tub, about the video of Dawson and Jason doing the cousin porn thing. And to her surprise, he, you know, any reaction when we tell somebody that, we would expect the guy to be like, really? Oh my God, holy shit, wow. Nope, that wasn't Shane's reaction. What was Shane's reaction, you ask? His reaction was to tell her about a story between him and his cousin, which I was like, okay. And that story is that basically his cousin, who was older than him at the time, brought in his girlfriend and basically showed Shane how to make a girl squirt on his girlfriend in front of Shane. So that's the story he tells Angelica right after she told him about the cousin porn. So she didn't really know what to do, but as Angelica does, what does she do? She ends up hugging him and staying with him, right? Instead of getting out of the hot tub immediately, right? So there's a picture of that there. This is a picture of them where things are getting awkward. This was at the wine thing when the whole argument came out between Dawson and Jason and Angelica and the girls. And so this is kind of Shane like over it. At this point, he's realizing this is a little bit more drama than he had signed up for. And so he's kind of over it. So these are those pictures of the bus ride back. And then here's a picture where he breaks up with her. And he tells her that, listen, they should just be friends and they should not continue to hook up. And here's the picture here where he locked the door, okay? And then here's the picture of the next morning where he's telling Dawson about how he locked the door. And she texts him about, why did you lock the door, right? And then this is the ride home, which was so fucking awkward, okay? I felt so bad for Shane because, and then Angelica, why are you doing this? Why are you going to grab his hand when he broke up with, like, it's just weird, you know? And you could see, look at him. He's so awkward. He's like, oh my God. But nonetheless, you would think that he would stay away from Angelica, but of course he doesn't. And she gets her new boobs, and that makes him go towards her instead of away from her, of course. But he tries to tell her once again that he just wants to hook up. And then at this point, they go outside, they have a conversation. In this picture here, she's telling him that it's too late, that they can't hook up anymore, that now she has the LAX guy. She has the new boyfriend or whatever, right? Which we all thought was bullshit. And then what happens? It is bullshit, because in the next day, they're at the Pride party, and Shane shows up at the Pride party. Here he is in this picture, and she turns around. Then they decide to go outside and have another chat. And then what does she do? She sits on top of him and starts making out. Yeah. So that, you know, tells Shane that they can hook up, and they do. And then we know what happens after that. She goes back to LAX guy, and Shane ghosts her for like 2 weeks. So here is some fashion. We'll get into some fashion with Shane. He's a model, so he says like Calvin Klein flew him out to New York when he was like 12 or 13 or some shit. I don't know, but that's what he said. And so these are pictures of him being a model, which again, I told you, like his head, if we could just take the head off, like he definitely is very attractive. He has a gorgeous face. But his body, I mean, he has a nice body, but I the legs are very stumpy. He's not proportioned. He's tall, but like I said, he's not the Marcus model body. Okay, which is I think is the true model body. I think Shane is just more of a print model where he's got a very good looking face and he has like a fitness body, right? So I think he could do more like Sports Illustrated, that kind of thing. But as far as like tutorial or runway or anything like that, Marcus has got that, right? But here are some pictures. This is where they modeled for Lisa, again, for her promo, for her merch line and stuff like that. He wants to make movies, and he is making, and he made a movie called Deep Clean, and here's the picture. And then we remember that there was the movie premiere, all the guys from SUR show up, and then Shane's father shows up. We meet Shane's father, and here's Shane's father. Here's a picture of Shane's father. And, we learn that he's a redneck, obviously, you know what I mean? And so now we see why Shane was a big old drug addict. And then here's Shane's sister, who she looks pretty decent and normal, right? But who knows? But yeah, and so this is Shane in his movie for the first time. And I mean, I didn't see the movie, so I can't judge him on his acting because lo and behold, I am an actress also, or I was an actress, I grew up going to acting schools and stuff like that. But anyway, I don't want to talk. So if I had to judge him on his acting, I didn't really see too much about, from the clip that I did see of the movie, his acting sucks. Okay, but they did compare him to Leonardo DiCaprio, and here's the picture of that. And he does look like Leonardo DiCaprio. His acting skills are nowhere near Leonardo DiCaprio, okay? But they did the comparison nonetheless. And then, of course, he asked his dad, like, what does he think? What did he think of his movie and all that? And his dad said he really liked it, and he talked about a couple of scenes that he really liked and blah, blah, blah. And then, of course, we find out, so here's a picture of Shane and his dad, and this is a picture of Shane when he was like 5 or 6 years old, and in the conversation that he has with Marcus in these pictures, this is where we learn his whole history with it, and that is that his parents apparently were drug addicts, and they sold drugs in the trailer park or whatever. And so he basically was left to his own devices, and then he eventually got hooked on drugs or started doing drugs and whatever, and that was basically his life, right? He was broke and all that. And then I guess because he was good looking, somebody approached him one day to become a model, and so that's how that happened. And then at some point he decided to get sober, which is incredible. It's to be that young. Like, so, to get sober at any age is very hard. But when you're in your prime and you're in your 20s, like, how are you? I always think it's amazing, like, Drew Barrymore, like, went into rehab at 18. How do you go to rehab at 18? That means she started when she was 12. Like, it's crazy. You don't go to rehab at 18. I went to rehab at 16. Yeah. But anyway, so I understand a little bit about this when you're starting early and stuff like that. But I did not get sober in my 20s. I went to rehab when I was young. I got out. I partied harder. I learned about more drugs when I was in rehab and other things that I had never heard of before. I didn't get sober until probably my late 20s, right? And I'm not sober now. I'm not sober anymore. But at one point I had a problem and I had to slow down. I had to cut. I went to AA meetings. I mean, it was I thought, and I don't suggest this for anybody, because when you go to AA, they tell you you're an alcoholic for life. That's it. You can never drink again. And I understand that. So that's why this is a tricky subject. But I actually was in rehab and I was in AA for a couple of years and stuff like that. But I did get to a place where I've been at for many years now, where I can have just a couple of drinks and I'm fine. I never thought I'd be able to do that. And I don't suggest that for people, because mostly when people say they're just going to have one drink, an alcoholic has like 20. So there isn't really, it's very rare. It's very rare that you can go from being an alcoholic to a casual drinker. But anyway, that's what happened to me. I'm now a casual drinker, you know, and I don't drink daily or anything like that. But anyway, well, what am I saying? I'm outing myself. I'm boozy bitch. Yes, I do drink every day. I drink every day. No. So yeah, I thought that was very courageous of him. You know, I thought that was amazing that he was able to get sober and stay sober. You know, he also talks about how he refrained from sex and that he wanted to be abstinent or whatever, which I understand, because it's like, if you don't have any drugs, you don't have, what else do you have? You have your good looks and you have your dick, right? So you're going to use it, right? But then he says he has erectile dysfunction, and then he also said he has a small penis. So how does that work? That part I don't understand. That part would make me think you'd want to be monogamous. Because if you're with one girl, you can work it out. But if you're sleeping with multiple girls, you got to sleep with multiple girls. And so if you have a little dick, or you need to pump it up, or you need to take a little blue pill, that's not really working with the sleeping with multiple girls. Like, how are you not monogamous and you're sleeping around when you can't physically sleep around, right? That doesn't make sense. So he said that he did go on like a sexual detox, or he was sober from sex for a while, because, you know, that's also an addiction, you know, and maybe he transformed his drug and alcohol into the sex. So that would make sense why he would want to abstain from sex, because he poured his addiction into that, and that became an addiction. So I get that part. So sorry to keep going on and on, but I'm really proud of him. I think that's something that he should be very proud of. However, when it comes to, if I could give Shane relationship advice, I mean, I'm no expert and I can't give anybody really relationship advice, because nobody really can, right? Nobody has the answers. We're all still searching for them. But if we want to just play therapist here, right? If I could give Shane advice, what I would tell him is that he should be monogamous. He should. Because he doesn't have the emotional capacity to sleep with different women. He can't handle telling them the truth, because when he does, you know, like he said, he goes, when I tell them about the other girls that I have, they can't handle it. Well, they can't handle it because you're not doing it correctly. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you're still dealing with girls who want to be monogamous. That's why you're not doing it right. Because if you told a girl that you're seeing multiple women, they're not going to want to, you know, and Angelica, you know, is not smart, right? Like, that's not going to do anything for her. If you told somebody else that you're dating multiple girls, they're going to be like, nah, I'm not with that. But Angelica will be with that because she didn't hear that, right? She's like, oh yeah, you can sleep with other girls. Wait, you're sleeping with other girl? You know what I mean? It's that type of a deal. So that's why, Shane, you're going to run into trouble. It's because most women want to be monogamous. And I'll tell you why. There are a stigma on a woman that men do not have. And that is, a man can sleep around and there's not necessarily, he's not considered dirty, I guess. If a woman sleeps around, she's considered dirty, right? She's considered a whore. She's considered a slut, a this, a that, or whatever. So that never gets out of our brain, ever. Even if you just love sex and you're a horny woman and you don't want to be monogamous, it never looks good for a woman. I hate to say it. It just never looks good, you know? I mean, look at Dawson. He couldn't even be with a porn star because of the stick. You know what I'm saying? Like, these men are hypocrites. You know, but unfortunately for us women, we can't kick that hypocrisy. We can't kick that stigma. So, and we don't want to be, you know, and I'm not saying that we don't like sex or we're not horny, but a lot of us, most of us don't want to sleep with multiple guys. Like, we just don't, you know what I mean? It's just not. And I know there's somebody out there saying, oh, that's not true. I know plenty of whores. And listen, and I'm not talking about professional whores. I'm not talking about women who are getting paid. I'm talking about women who are just sleeping around. Okay? There aren't many of them. There aren't. Okay? And there is such a thing as a single woman. And do single women have one night stands? Of course they do. Right? But what I'm saying is that for the most part, women get emotionally attached. When they like you, they like you. It's not just they want to fuck you. They like you and they want to fuck you. For a man like Shane, who doesn't want to be monogamous, that's not going to work. You have to find a woman who likes to sleep around. And even worse, I don't think Shane would want that type of girl, right? And so that's where, just like Dawson didn't want that type of girl, it's like for you to truly live like where you are not monogamous, where it's called polyamorous, where you want to be with multiple people, it has to be both ways. You can't just say to a girl, I don't want to be monogamous. I want to be with different girls, but I need you to be cool with that. And have her not get upset, not get jealous, it doesn't work, Shane. It doesn't. And now the reason why I'm going to suggest for you to be monogamous is because if your dick worked and you had a big one, I would say you are meant to be a Hugh Hefner. You know, go spread your dick around, fuck as many women as you want. But when you have erectile dysfunction, you can't get it up anyway. Your dick is small, like you said. You even admitted. Why would you admit to that? That's crazy, but kudos for you. I appreciate the honesty. You know what I mean? Because now we all know to stay away, right? But why would you do that? That's crazy, right? But I respect the honesty. But you just admitted to the world that you have a small penis and it doesn't work unless you take a little blue pill or you pump it up, right? So help me understand. How are you going to sleep with multiple women when you can't even perform? So that's why I'm saying that if you were monogamous and you developed an emotional relationship with a girl, she would be fine with you taking a blue pill every time you need to have sex. She would be fine with that because she's faithful and she loves you for you. Okay, so that's what I suggest for you, Shane. Sorry this went on forever, but maybe this is a message to all men, okay? It's like, if you don't want to be monogamous, be honest about that, please. And I appreciate that, and that's great. But if you truly don't want to be monogamous, then you got to have a working dick, okay? You got to be attractive and you got to have a working dick. And you have to be with women who also want to sleep around. You cannot be non-monogamous with a monogamous woman, because you're always going to get a woman who is going to catch feelings. And then you're going to have to break her heart, or you're going to have to lie to her and cheat on her so that you can keep her. And that's not going to work. So it's hard. It's hard, guys. I know. I feel for you. For the ones who don't want to be monogamous, I feel for you. But you have to, because of the stigma, you have to get away from the stigma and realize that if you want to sleep around, you're going to be with a girl who wants to sleep around too. There's no other way around it. Otherwise, if she's a monogamous girl and you really like her, but you're going to tell her that you're going to be with multiple people, she's going to end up catching feelings for you. And then it's not going to last. You're going to end up having to break it off. And so you're always going to run into trouble, Shane. You're always going to run into a brick wall. So I suggest you go to therapy, figure out why you don't want to be monogamous, okay? And if you can get your dick working or whatever, then cool. But you're going to have to find a girl who wants to sleep around, okay? You cannot find an Angelica or a Stasili or an Audrey or a me or any girl for that matter. You're going to have to find, like what Dawson found, find a porn star, okay? Because then you'll truly find a girl who doesn't care if you sleep around. And you know what? Even porn stars care if you sleep around. Because I have a friend, she's a porn star, she's married now, which is crazy. And he was a porn star too. But you see what I'm saying? They were both porn stars and they both don't do it anymore, right? But that's what I'm saying. You have to be a bird that flocks together. Birds of a feather flock together. You can't be non-monogamous dating a girl who is monogamous. It doesn't work, Shane. All right. Enough of that. So, all right, did we get into Shane's fashions? I mean, he didn't really have any, you know. He's a homeboy with the fucking, the skinny chain. I had to talk about the skinny chain thing. I know all the guys had them in their confessionals, but it's just, I'm so over it, okay? I had that in my generation. That's what the kids used to wear when I was, that's what all the boys had, the skinny gold chain. It's like, please. And every race, by the way. Black guys would rock it. They would rock a little thicker though. The Italian boys in New Jersey would rock the gold chain. I mean, the white boy, like all the boys would rock these little skinny fucking chains. And I mean, I liked it back then, but now I look at it and it reminds me of those cheesy ass days. You know what I mean? And so here's some pictures. So, and you see the skinny chain in every fucking shot. And it's just so corny and cheesy and Jersey and 80s, and I can't. But so we have this first shirt here, which is kind of just like beach, chillin' realness or something. I don't know. See, again, like he's not like Marcus. He can't just wear anything because this actually doesn't look good. But it's casual. It's casual. Then he's got this blue shirt that kind of, it looks like he's wearing his little brother's shirt, right? Because it's a little too tight in the arms. And, you know, see, again, this is what I'm talking about. It's like, if, you know, if some people just have it like that and can wear anything. And so he's somebody who definitely can't wear anything, you know, because this shirt looks like it's too tight. Then we have this next photo of him and his, you know, I guess he looks better like this. This is more conservative with the suit jacket, but again, with the skinny chain, it's just, I can't. All right, Shane, I'm done with you. I can't anymore with you. Sorry, guys. All right, Venus. All right, we're almost done, guys. We're almost done. We got Venus. And Venus was probably the most interesting cast member for obvious reasons, because, you know, my first thought was he's gay and he's transgendered maybe or something because of the long hair or whatever. But then I realized quickly, I said, okay, he's not transgendered or bigendered or non-gendered or whatever it is. He's just a gay man, right? And so, okay, cool. So here's some pictures, and he is good at his job. I would say he's kind of more like a Stosley, where you can tell he really works there. You know, he's not a Dawson or a Jason, you know, he really works there. And or a Marcus, you know, he can do his job very well. And here's some pictures. Oh, this was him. So, you know, Venus is from Texas, little gay boy from Texas. Oh, God bless you, honey, because Texas, I mean, if you ain't a straight cowboy, you know. But come to, like Brokeback Mountain, we come to find out there was a lot of gay cowboys, honey. And he was one of them. And so here's some pictures. And yes, honey, he is just gay as Christmas, honey. Just washing his car, girl. Uh-huh. And then, yes, he's got the he loves him some blow-up toys, doesn't he? I do too, by the way. I have a pool, so I've got like 1 million fucking blow-up toys. I'm about the blow-up toys too, okay? And so look at him. He's just living his best life, honey. And he is just chilling with that bottle in the blow-up toy. And you know what? That would be me, honey. You and I would both be in the pool, in the floaties, with our bottles, okay? Yes. And look at him. He is just a Texas boy. And see, this was him and Audrey. And him and Audrey became besties immediately because they're both from Texas. They're both gay. And they're both gorgeous. And they're both sweet as hell. And they're both gingers, you know? I mean, Audrey's a blonde, but I think she's a secret ginger. You know, some blondes, you think they're blonde, but they're really a secret ginger. And Venus is definitely a ginger, honey. I mean, you look up ginger in the dictionary and there is Venus. Hello, hi. And actually his name is Clint. I think we found that out also at the reunion, is that his real name is Clint. That's his government name. And that when he moved to LA, he decided to call himself Venus because he thought he came out of the water, out of the pool, again, out of the pool one day, and he splashed, he thought he was a mermaid, right? And so there came Venus. And so that's how we came to Venus. And then he had a good friendship with Stosley. You know, he also had a good friendship with Stosley. This is their first outing. They went to go get tans, and that's when we saw that Venus was a true ginger. With his little white red ass. And yeah, so and he got along with the boys, you know, which was very interesting. You know what I mean? He definitely fit right in, and he didn't have to be straight or do any of that shit, and they accepted him, and they asked him a lot of questions. And one of the questions in this picture here was, what do you think about vagina? And are you really gay? And all this shit. And then he, of course, he said, yes, I am gay. And this is what a vagina looks like. It looks like that scene from the movie The Aliens. I'm like, okay, well, what do you think a dick looks like? All right, you want to see something scary? All right, anyway. Okay, so I thought that was very strange. But anyway, and then here's a picture of him very much enjoying and admiring Shane's fake dildo that Jason brought because he's a weirdo, because they're all fucking weirdos. But anyway, so yeah, they all were standing around playing with this fake dildo that they seem to be admiring like it's his real dick. And I think Shane is wishing that it was his real dick. But anyway, so that's what's happening in that picture. And then, yeah, we see what happened with him and Kim. They were good friends, but obviously because of Marcus and all of that, and him advising her to kind of take a break from Marcus, got them in trouble. But ultimately, they worked it out, and they had a talk, and, they became friends once again. And then, of course, here's a picture of Stasili and Venus just marveling at freaking Marcus's drunk ass. So I thought that was funny. That's kind of how they bonded, because they both had to deal with Marcus's drunk ass. And then here is Venus having a conversation with Marcus finally to kind of tell him how he feels. And the first conversation didn't go well, and they kept on arguing. And then, of course, you could see that it took a toll on him at work. He was arguing. He was telling Demi how he felt. And then he was very emotional one day. He was like crying. But then later on, they had another conversation and they became friends again. And then, of course, they kissed and they made up. And what we also learned about Venus is that Venus hasn't had sex in 7 years because he was in a really, really bad abusive relationships. But so they actually felt bad for him. So here they go. Here's some pictures. So Marcus decides to give him a kiss, and then Jason gives him a kiss, and then Audrey gives him a kiss, and then Stasili gives him a kiss, because they all feel bad that he hasn't gotten any, right? So that's why that happened. And then they're kind of at the bar, and Venus meets this guy who is straight, right? But maybe because he's drunk and he's acting a little like, because he knows the camera's there, and he's like, I think he was just curious about the group as a whole and what they were doing, what the cameras are. So maybe that was Venus kind of confused that a little bit with thinking that maybe there was a little flirting going on. But if you watch the show, you could see that there wasn't. He was just a straight drunk guy who was trying to figure out who these people are, right? But they made it kind of into a storyline, you know what I mean? And so Venus kind of played with it. So here he is, like, introducing him. He's like, oh, hi, my name is Venus. Oh, hi, nice to meet you, whatever. And then here's a picture of, like, Venus talking to Audrey and having, like, a little pep talk after that, where she's like, listen, that guy's not your guy, but that was just a warm-up. Get back into the race. You got to get back into the dating thing. Don't be shy. Who cares if they're straight or gay? Like, you can't be shy or embarrassed. You got to go for it. You know what I mean? And you basically get back in the game. So that was it. And then this is a picture of him and his gay friends. I mean, those guys actually work at TomTom. That's actually, one of them is Ryan, I think, who's Audrey's roommate, the one that was making a face in the background. And then the other guy, I think, works at TomTom or whatever. Basically, they didn't make the show. So they're the friends of, right? But they work at SUR and they work at TomTom. So, but they didn't quite make the show completely. And then this is a picture of Venus basically talking about the last time that someone gave him a blowjob and how it shot up in the ceiling of the car and whatever, weird shit. And then here's a cute picture of, like, Dawson, like, this is before he made out with everybody, like, trying to convince Venus to kiss everybody, like, kind of seducing him a little bit, right? And of course, I mean, is that from your OnlyFans, Dawson, or whatever? Anyway, and so here's Venus just being Venus, Venus, yes. And, he is he's enjoying his best life. I mean, that's basically, he had the best fun, the most fun, because he didn't care and he just did whatever he wanted to do. And look, right here, he looks like he's on acid. That brings back memories. Yeah, that looks like a good time. Oh, honey, he is in euphoria. Yes, honey, he is in another world. Beautiful. And then his sister, that was another thing. We met his sister. Here's a picture of his sister. And another ginger, yes. And then, oh, look at them when they were young as kids. And how cute. And then we learned that his sister actually hooked up with Peter. Oh, God. Oh, no. No, girl. Why? Did you not warn her, Venus? Did she not watch the show? Like, why would you hook up with Peter? But Peter's adorable. He's a cutie, but why, right? Why? But yeah, here are some pictures. And then here's some more pictures of like Venus with his mom. You know, cute. And then here's a picture of Venus with his dad when he was really young. And oh my God, yeah, his father looks like he is serious military, honey. Serious military. Ooh. So I could see how that might have been difficult, you know. But now he says that his father has watched all the episodes of Vanderpump Rules so he can be closer to Venus. So I thought that was really cool. At least he's trying, you know. It's hard, man. When you're a heterosexual man and in the military and you grew up in a certain way, it's like that, it's like another world. I get it, I understand it, but nowadays it's like there's no room for prejudice, racism, sexism. You know, it's like if you have a gay child or you're gay or your friend, whoever's gay, you know, it don't matter no more, man. You know what I mean? It's like if you're still hung up on like, I want a straight kid, or you need to just fucking give up. Give up. It's not going to happen. The more you wish, the more they're going to be gay. You know what I mean? So, like, just let people be people, man. It don't matter at the end of the day, right? It don't matter. It don't matter. So, you know, that was nice to see. So I like to see this. So that's his. And then this was when Venus showed up at Lisa's place, darling, with the swans, sweetheart. And I mean, her house is literally ridiculous. It's like something out of a Disney movie, but I love it. And so he's there to talk about Pride and how Lisa has chosen him to be the host. And then he gets into a little bit of his story and about how he was suicidal and, you know, he was really picked on and he wasn't sure if he, you know, should live his life authentically and be gay. And so he really struggled. And you can see that. I mean, he has no confidence whatsoever. He's gorgeous. He looks like a freaking Adonis. Even though you're ginger, you're still fucking gorgeous. And he has no idea of that. I mean, he knows he's cute, but he doesn't, you know, and so he needs to, like Lisa said, you need to gain some more confidence, and maybe the show will do that for you now, you know what I mean? And then here's his favorite thing in the world, his blow-up toys. Yes, girl, he loves him some blow-up toys. Yes. And then here's him giving a speech at Pride. And yes, let's get into some fashion looks. And so we have this god-awful Super Mario Brothers, that's all I could think of, Luigi type. Why? Just why? I mean, this is where we're really gonna get into the fashion choices now, right? Is because him and Jason had the worst confessional looks I've ever seen, right? But anyway, let's get more into the fashion. Oh no, and he has his, he's got a skinny chain. I mean, what is it? Is the skinny chain back? Is that what's happening? Oh God. And so, and oh yes, that was at Audrey's birthday, and yes, and the pink pants. Okay, we can do without those, honey, but I get it, it was for the photo shoot. And yeah, I mean, he definitely has a choice of style that is his, that is, you know, whatever. Not for me, but some of his looks looked good. Like, I liked this look here. You know, the clean, and you know, he looks good. Anyway, so here's his confessional looks, because this was the ones I had the most trouble with, of course. But here's some pictures of, that was his Pride photo shoot and whatnot. All right, and then this was more pictures of him at Pride. Okay, now we get to the confessional looks. Now, I don't know what generation you guys are, but if you've ever seen the movie The Clan of the Cave Bears with Daryl Hannah, it was a crazy movie, but it was a good movie. But it's really, if you're not from my generation, you won't understand. And if you were to watch it today, you would be like, oh my God, this looks like someone had, like, the quality is so bad because it's an old movie. but it's a great movie. You know what I mean? I liked it, okay? Because it's from my generation. It's like an old movie, you know, or whatever. But when I saw him in this outfit, I immediately thought of that movie. Immediately. So I made this collage where you can see Daryl Hannah. And so you can see these pictures here. That was the movie. That's Daryl Hannah in the movie. A Clan of the Cave Bear. You have to see it just now that because of this, you got to see it just because of this, right? It's a very barbaric like movie. It's about like Daryl Hannah's like this white girl that like ends up with this clan that are all brown hair, brown eyes. So they think of her as like this like albino, like they've never seen her before, right? And she learns how to like, they're basically like Neanderthals, right? This is like the beginning of time, like the cavemen. And so it's just very Neanderthal-ish, you know, like she gets raped and like this happens and they force her to have a kid. Like it's crazy. You should see it. Just see it. But he really looked like her in this fucking confessional. Oh my God. All right. And then of course, if that wasn't bad enough, then he turns into Myrtle Snow from American Horror Story. Okay. Ryan Murphy, you guys ever seen it? See it. Watch it. It's like fucking 12 seasons, but watch it. It's American Horror Story. And she plays a witch, Myrtle Snow. And I mean, you can see, I'm showing you the pictures here, that he looks exactly like her. The hair, the outfit, it's just giving Myrtle Snow. And so I made these collages, as you can see, him looking like Myrtle Snow. I mean, I just couldn't believe it. I mean, you know, and he even admitted it. He said he was trying to go for something. He didn't say Myrtle Snow, but he said, meaning like, why is he dressed like the way that he was dressed? Is he said he was trying, fashion for him is just to try things and to go with it. So I'll give it to him. You know, I mean, try it. That's what it's about. But it didn't work. That's more important. All right. And then the last look, is that like a Jew? What is that skinny chain? Is that, it's 777. Okay. Is that like a new thing nowadays? I'm seeing people getting a tattoo of the 777. Is that the slot machine? Like, what is this, fake? I don't understand. Anyway. So yeah, this is his outfit here. You can see more of it here with the pants and the leather jacket. And then you got the gloves with it as well. And then we have like a polo blue shirt underneath. So we've got leather, we got khakis. It's just not good. Okay, it's all wrong, honey. It's like you were working at Staples and then decided to buy a bike. It's like, what? It's khaki and leather together? Anyway. All right. So that's Venus. Yes. All right, guys, we have 2 more to go. We have Dawson and Chris. Well, so Dawson, his name is Chris. Okay? But look at these pictures I'm going to put up right now, okay? He's Dawson, all right? Look at him. If you don't see it, I'm going to show you. All right, let's check out these pictures, okay? Now, here's Dawson. He showed up unseen, coming from other dating shows, and I couldn't tell you which ones they were. Too Hot to Handle, maybe. Blind Date. I have no idea. But he was on some other dating show. Not a very popular one, because I think I probably would know him if you would. Anyway, and so now he's on Vanderpump Rules, and you can kind of tell immediately he doesn't know how to bartend, right? Stasely kind of had to show him. Here's Peter in this photo trying to show him how to bartend, right? And here's one of his confessional looks, but I'm showing you this early because look, see, there's Dawson from Dawson's Creek. For those of you that are not my generation, there was a show called Dawson's Creek many, many years ago. And this is, what was his name? James Vanderbeek. Yeah, he was the actor that played Dawson. But look, I mean, are you not convinced? Look at these pictures. Okay, look. And there's Chris with his dad. And then, okay. So are we now gotten to the point where we don't know which one is Dawson and which one is Dawson? Exactly. That's why he's Dawson, okay? But his name is Chris. All right. And what we learned is that he has a family member also on the show. And his name is Jason. And it's his cousin. They do stripper shows. They both stripped, you know what I mean? They're both on OnlyFans. They both do like health stuff and protein shakes and whatever. But so here's some cute little pictures of just You know, because basically this is Dawson and Jason. I can almost do them together, but like Dawson and Jason were basically like a tag team the entire time. And at times it was very weird because obviously you have the cousin porn. That was weird enough. But then a lot of times they would talk in we's. You know, we liked that girl. We dated her. We, you know what I mean? Well, they didn't say we dated, but it was like, you know, Jason would be like, yeah, we really liked her. Or, you know, yeah, we would go out here and there. And I'm like, you mean Dawson and her would go out and you were with them? But he would say we a lot. So that started making, after like the 7th time, I was starting to think they probably dated chicks together. You know what I mean? It's just like whatever they got going on, I'm not like, listen, they're two hot guys. They're really sweet. I would love to have Dawson and Jason as a friend for sure. But like, as a boyfriend or as like dating material, they're just giving very different vibes, you know, whether you're not going to get conventional with either one of them. That's the vibes that I'm getting. You know what I mean? I mean, Dawson has mentioned that he likes older women. I mean, it's a lot going on there. So this is the two of them. This is just a collage of the two of them. Oh, and this here, doosh, oosh, oosh, oosh. It ain't a party unless it's Dawson and Jason. That's them showing up for the Pride thing. And then this was them doing an OnlyFans video on Mother's Day, which I thought was very strange, where they were doing like a Mother's Day promo for OnlyFans, where they were making cards and flowers and all that kind of shit. And then the next thing was they were like, all right, we're done with the Mother's Day thing, but now we got to do like a naked photo shoot for OnlyFans. So here's the photos naked for the OnlyFans or whatever. So that's kind of when we learned that they were on OnlyFans or whatever. And so, you know, and behind the scenes, I don't know if I said this or not in one of my videos, but we kind of learned that I was kind of thinking that they weren't going to come, not that they were fired, but when Lisa really found, or production, I don't want to say Lisa, but whoever found out that when they were doing like, you know, sex stuff on OnlyFans for money, number one, they're making more money than they're making on the show. So they don't need the show. And Lisa knows that, production knows it. So I think they kind of like were making them make a choice. Like basically, like if you're going to be on the show, then you got to kind of cut out the OnlyFans thing. No, they're not going to do that. So that's why I'm kind of thinking, are they even going to come back to the show? Because it's like, they kind of already outed, like Dawson already outed, all right, this is Dawson. Dawson already outed himself by saying that, you know, he was performative on another show. He was talking about being on another show. That's why Audrey was getting a red flag, was like, is he just on this show to like get recognized or whatever? And so I think so, yeah. I think that he, obviously if he's been on a lot of shows before, he wants to be seen. He wants to make a name for himself. He wants to be famous or whatever. So I think that he knows Vanderpump Rules. He knows what it's about. So I think that he thought he would be a good fit for it, you know, which he is and whatever. But I don't think he was authentic. I think everyone else that's been on Vanderpump Rules, especially in the past, these were real people that really know each other, that whatever. Dawson, I feel like he just sort of jumped in and was like, all right, this will be my girl. This will be my story. You know what I mean? Like, it just doesn't feel authentic. So I'm not sure if these two guys are going to come back, because it's like he's making a shitload of money on OnlyFans. He clearly doesn't have any sexual boundaries or limits. So that's, you can't get with a girl like that. Like, you're not going to get with an Audrey or you're not going to get with anybody on the show. Jason tried to get with Stassi, and that didn't really work out. So I don't really see a storyline for them, is what I'm saying. I think that the whole OnlyFans made it very interesting for TV, and it made it very shocking. But where are they going to go from here, right? Because it makes it, you can't really have a relationship. You know what I'm saying? And so we saw that kind of with Audrey, you know, but he kind of tried, but it was very inauthentic, and so whatever. So, all right, here's some more with the pictures. And yes, this is him giving, this is when he started things with Audrey, and he gave her a little dance. Then he helped her move in. You know, that's when she moved in with her two roommates. And this is also where Dawson and Audrey had their first kiss for the first time. Then they went on this little like horseback riding date. Here are the pictures. And this is kind of when probably should have done the Shane thing at that point when she was asking him, what do you see do you see us being, do you want to be in a relationship kind of thing, blah, blah, blah. And he was kind of like, we're getting to know each other, right? But, you know, he kind of said yes when it was a little too soon. And then, yeah, this is them riding off into the sunset. And then they went on a little surfing date. I mean, they were so cute. You know, we all wanted this for them, but there's one thing to want it for somebody, and it's another thing for it to be a reality, you know. And in reality, they just don't work, even though they're very cute. So here they are. And then after their surfing date, he brought her to, like, here's Audrey hanging out with the guys. She's hanging out with Dawson and Jason. And Jason really likes Audrey. And he said it. He goes, oh, I really like her. Again, the we thing. You know, so then after Jason starts liking her, then Dawson starts getting more, you know, wanting to make it serious, wanting to kind of go the relationship route. So then he starts to play boyfriend a little bit. And then this is when it gets into trouble, because here's the pictures of them at the wine weekend. And here we go. This is when he's telling Marcus, oh shit, Audrey just caught me on the phone when I said to my cousin, yo, we're gonna fuck mad bitches. And Audrey was like right there. And Marcus was like, so what did you say to the guy? He's like, I said, shut the fuck up, you know? And then he goes, but she definitely heard it, you know? So I'm reading off what it says in the picture. And so, yeah, so he talked his way out of it. And then, of course, Audrey was not happy. So you see her in this picture. She was not having it. This is when the red flags started to happen. And then, of course, they have a talk. And she forgives him. And then they're back on. And then they go do this hot Harry Potter date thing. And on their Harry Potter date, Dawson tried to do the spell casting thing. And it didn't work. And then Audrey did it. And, of course, it worked. You know, but he was kind of also a little too touchy-feely with her on this Harry Potter date, because it was also giving, like, performative, because, you know, you're not at that stage yet where it was like you've been together for, like, years and stuff. So he was giving that kind of vibe, and that kind of put her off, so much so that she broke up with him on that date, because that was after the wine. That was after all the red flags and everything. So then they're on the beach, and it's kind of awkward, but they become friends. And then, of course, these are the pictures where, you know, she finds out about the cousin porn, and Dawson doesn't know what to do. He's just playing stupid. He's like, huh? What? Like, he's hearing it for the first time, too. He's like, huh? Like, he doesn't know what's going on. And look, he's standing next to Marcus. He doesn't even know what to say at this point, right? And then here's the picture again of him, you know, they break up, and then he has a whole conversation with Audrey, apologizing and blah, 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 and they get back together, only for him to make her a beautiful sandwich and French fries, and to break up with her all over again and tell her that he wants to go traveling, and that on his travels, he might meet somebody else. And if that happens, he doesn't want to be tied down to her. And so she says, all right, well, yeah, I guess we could do that. Meaning she didn't really want to, though. And then here in the next picture, you see that they talk it out, because she tells him that that was bullshit and that she didn't really mean that. And that if he's going to be traveling and finding someone else, then he can do just that and find someone else. And so these are the pictures there where they're having the chat on Pride, and she basically tells him off, and that's the end of that. And so, and then here's Dawson living his best life. These are a couple of pictures of Dawson just living his best life. And this is him at Pride and naked and, you know, drinking and partying. He's definitely a party boy. And he's a little bit of a model. I wouldn't say a professional model. I would say more of a print model, or, of course, an OnlyFans model. And so these are a couple of pictures of that. And then these are just pictures of Dawson now. We'll get into his fashion. And I actually kind of liked Dawson's fashion, because at times he wore things that I was kind of like, I don't know. But it worked. I don't know if I'm making sense, but like his fashion was kind of like, I don't know how to even describe it. It wasn't feminine, but he had like some flowy pieces that, I don't know how to describe it. All I know is he had some different kind of clothes, but he made them look good. So I liked Dawson's fashion. In fact, I think he was probably my favorite. Isn't that strange? His fashion choices were my favorite out of all the men. Now, I can't put Marcus in that because Marcus is a model. He can wear anything. So it doesn't, I can't really critique a model. They can literally wear anything. It doesn't matter. But my favorite fashion choices and my favorite outfits that he was wearing throughout the season was Dawson, actually. So, go figure. And then here's some pictures of Dawson modeling at Lisa's place for the Pride, for the promo. And I thought this picture was funny because it shows Dawson and Jason's ass, obviously, but you can see that clearly they both have white asses and they didn't tan their asses. But also you can see that Dawson has a way bigger ass than Jason. And Jason has this little tiny, teeny, tiny ass. And so now we know why he got that prosthetic ass, right? We thought he was using it for something else, but now I see he's using it as a fake butt for his OnlyFans shots, right? To make it look like he's got something back there. So now we see why with this picture. And then these are his confessional looks. He's got his little easy breezy shirt here. He also has a skinny chain. I don't get the fucking skinny. Maybe it was somebody, maybe I won't judge them. Maybe someone who was behind the fashion on Vanderpump Rules, who dresses them for the confessional, put them all in a skinny chain. Maybe that's what happened. Okay? Then we have this other look where he's got this like brown top with like a loose shirt underneath. I like it, it's casual, whatever. And then, okay, here's a full shot. He's got the jeans, all right. And now this last look is weird. Again, it's kind of bohemian. It's a little feminine, but he wears it in a very straight way. But it's kind of corny and cheesy, and his hair looks corny and cheesy, and he's got the skinny chain. But it works for me. It works for me. It works for him, and it looks good on him, and then it works for me. So there you go. All right, Dawson, and my last final words for you, Dawson, is just be your authentic self. Somebody out there will love you. They will. You know what I mean? Because you are a good guy. He's a sweet guy. He's a nice guy. He's a talented guy. I just think that he's in a sexual place that not many people are. And so he needs to find, I know it's gross, and I said something about it before, about him mentioning that he likes older women, but I actually think that an older woman would suit him. And I don't mean Lisa. I don't mean Lisa old. I mean like 10 years. 10 years. So he says he's 31. I would say that he could date a woman who's 40. Yeah. Okay, that would work for him. He should not be dating a girl in her 20s, because he's too sexually experienced, okay? He can't. It's not going to work, all right? But he also needs to stop lying to himself and stop being a hypocrite because, if he thinks that he was not going to date a porn star because she was a porn star and you're a porn star, like, come on. That's, like, you're being ridiculous, you know what I'm saying? So, but he definitely, don't see him with somebody like an Audrey. Audrey is a beautiful free bird that deserves to be loved on and treated like a princess. And I think that Dawson would treat her like a princess, but he's not going to love on her the way that she wants to be loved, right? So that's why I think that he would do better in a more mature relationship and with an older woman. And used to be an ex-porn star, maybe something like that, so they can get along. But anyway, so that's it for Dawson. All right, last but not least, Jason. I don't know what a girl's gonna do with you. Like, what is she gonna do with you? Put her in her pocket, maybe. All right. So here's Jason. Here's his photos. And this was when he first came on the scene. And you can see Marcus is like, also doesn't know what to do with him, right? But he teaches him how to drink at work. Yeah. And so right off the bat, Jason has a bad example. And maybe that's why he sucked at his job. But yeah, he didn't have a very good example. But nonetheless, he was some eye candy for Sir. And that's what Lisa wants ultimately at the end of the day. And then she'll train you to become good at whatever you are. And if you're not, she'll just demote you to hostess. That's how it works. So these are the pictures of him. I was just saying, like, Venus tried to help him with the menu, and he was asking him, do you know anything besides the goat cheese balls? And he's like, yeah. No, I don't. And then there's Dawson laughing. And then, of course, here's Lisa getting mad at him for being late. And then he has some weird excuse, and it doesn't matter. And then, of course, they try to help him be a better server. And so he waits on Ken and Lisa, and she asks him, like, what's in a crab cake? And he can't even answer that. A crab cake? It's in the name. Yeah, anyway. So he couldn't answer that. And so she ultimately, here's the pictures, she ultimately demotes him to hostess. And so then he goes to hostess station, and Audrey tries her best to teach him the ways of the hostess world. But something tells me he's probably not going to be good at that either. But what he is good at is lifestyles of the rich and famous. So when they were doing their photo shoot in this picture, he pretended he was like Robin Leach or something, and he was going around talking about her house and her property or whatever, and I thought it was very cute. And what we also know that he could do is he can strip. He's a stripper. And so here's him giving a strip dance to Audrey on her birthday, and then here's a picture. Here's his brother. So this is his twin brother. We learned that Jason has a twin brother, Justin. Jason and Justin, how can you imagine? And they were strippers, okay? But anyway, so here's some photos of him doing the OnlyFans. And look at his little leopard bikini. Are you crazy? And then this is him at Pride. Him and Dawson were outside, like being, schlong models or something, And then he was kind enough to perform with Stasely for her thing. And then this is Jason just acting the fool on Pride Day, just doing whatever. And then, one thing we definitely have to mention with Jason is which we already did, but his prosthetics. So right away he came out with this like fake penis dildo thing that was like 12 inches long. I mean, it was crazy. I mean, obviously it was for shits and giggles and but then he shows a picture of him wearing it like years ago as a Halloween prank or something. I don't know what's going on. And then they went to the wine retreat weekend, and he brings it with him. Like as a gag. That's what Shane had between his legs that he was trying to show off or what. So obviously weird. So here are some photos of him basically doing using it as a nunchuck. Okay? Yeah, strange. And then speaking of nunchucks, he went on his date with Angelica. So they go to the jiu-jitsu thing. And obviously we know how that ended up. He kicks her ass, and then he's not that apologetic afterwards for kicking her ass, and that makes it worse. And he's basically like, well, you said you were... I mean, in fairness, she did say she was a martial artist, right? And that's kind of when we learned that she was bullshitting, right? Because she didn't do shit. Right? She didn't even so much as throw him over her shoulder. She couldn't even do that. But anyway, and he's short. Like, you could have done that. You're taller than him. But anyway, so ultimately she ends up with Shane. We know this. There she is coming in looking like Chung Lee, like she's gonna kick ass, and then only to get broken up with. She breaks up with Jason. Then she gets with Shane. Here's her getting with Shane. And then Jason gets very jealous before Dawson interrupts. Jason basically yells at her. He says, fuck you. So there's a picture of him saying, fuck you. And then here's a picture of the penis pump. The penis pump that started all the controversy. Yes, and then here's Jason talking to Angelica about how she embarrassed him by telling everybody about the penis pump and how he didn't like that. And so he was trying to get to a friendship with her and all that. So skip that, and now his attention goes to Stasely, that he really likes her. He calls her like a boss bitch. And now he's kind of getting more into the Dawson territory, where he's talking about how he wants like a motherly fixture and like an older woman to kind of put him in his place. And he thinks Stasely is that, even though they're the same age. But he's saying that she's giving boss bitch energy, that kind of thing. So he's all over her. Here we go with the kiss again. And here they are on their paint date. And I mean, just really, Jason, you really could have done without that paint date. I mean, that was so bad. And then here you go again. He's having a conversation with Shane, because Shane was kind of getting a little bit jealous that he was going for Stasely when he didn't talk to him about it or something. So kind of like what girls do, like girl code. So here in the picture, he's talking to Shane. And ultimately, Shane tells Jason, you know what, man? Don't worry about it. Go for it. Because, he's not monogamous, so he doesn't give a shit. And he probably knew that he was probably banging Stasely on the low because of what we found out at their reunion. So they're probably already sleeping together. So he's probably like, do your thing. I don't care. Right? And then, of course, Stasely gets mad because one thing you're not going to do is tell another guy to go for it in front of me. You're like, I'll tell you whether or not you're going to go for it. You don't tell him that you don't give him the green light to go for me. I give him the green light to go for me. So that was her look right here. And she gets really pissed off, you know, rightfully so. I'd be pissed too. And then here's the pictures of when Angelica talks about the video and about what he's doing. And so they asked him what's going on in this video. And, you know, that's why we were waiting for the reunion, because he doesn't get into it here. He basically just says that she's lying and that he doesn't know what she's talking about. They're not naked. What video? What? All this bullshit. He's denied. Then she starts telling everybody what's in the video. You guys are naked. You're massaging each other. So in these pictures, you can see now he's starting to get nervous and he's breaking down and he's like, whoa, shit, okay, like I didn't know that she actually saw it. And so then he finally gives up and he's like, and he looks over to Stasely in this picture and he's like, so what? You don't think that's hot? That's not hot? No, it's not hot to be naked with your cousin. No, not for me. And so then he's getting a little frustrated. He doesn't know what to do. So this picture, he's downing the fucking bottle because he's like, shit, what should we do? And here in this picture, it all started where he just wanted to be a Matt Damon and Ben Affleck. And how about them apples, Boston, two guys, you know, like that's what he said in the scene. And so, yeah, look where you came though. Look where you came. You started with that and now look where you came, you know. And so here's Jason. Here's just a few pictures of Jason. And, you know, this was when he was at the gym with Marcus and Shane trying to be one of the boys, you know what I mean? And that must have been really awkward because they tower over him. Tower. So he must have been like a Oompa Loompa to them, you know? And then here's a picture again of him getting along with Audrey, you know, Dawson's girl, right? Or their girl, should I say. And then here's him making a protein shake, you know, because they love their OnlyFans promos. Healthy promos or whatever. And then, you know, he drives, you know, and he does some push-ups there, and, you know, and he can drink, he can hang with the best of them, right? Look at that. 0.12, 0.12. So he was almost close to Demi. Demi was a 0.15, so 0.15, he's 0.12, so he's close. He almost beat Demi. So we like that. He can definitely handle his liquor because I never really seen him get out of control. And then here's a sweet little picture of him in the bus talking to Venus and telling Venus that his uncle or his grandfather was gay or something like that and passed away and that he was very close with him. And so, and all of that. And so obviously I think that Dawson and Jason might be bi, maybe, or they could be. I mean, I think they're straight because I do think they're into women, but I think that they could be also into guys. So it could be bi, you know. I'm not really sure, though, with Jason and Dawson, right? Because they got the OnlyFans thing going on, and they're doing stuff with each other. There is such a thing as gay for pay, because in the porno world, the women are the ones that make the money. The men, not so much. In the gay world, they make a lot of money. It's the same like the women. So there is a thing called gay for pay, where men will strip or do nudes, maybe not have sex, right? Because then you're probably gay, but like they'll get as close to a sexual act, but they're not gay. But they'll do it because the money is like, put it this way. If a straight guy does a regular porno, he might make a couple of $1,000s. If he does a gay porno, he'll probably make like 20,000. You understand? I'm just to give you an example. Not that I know, but I know that much, that they make a lot more in the gay territory than that's why it's called gay for pay. Okay? That's not called straight for pay because there's no such thing, right? So men, some straight men delve into the gay environment because there's more money. So there's that. But I'm not so sure with Dawson and Jason. You know, there's a gray area there. They're talking about, you know, he likes older women. They're talking about they've dated women together. They've done things with each other on OnlyFans. You know, so they've done things with another guy involved that was also, because didn't he mention there was another guy in the video? So it wasn't just him and his cousin. Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. So maybe, I don't know. Only they know. And I'm the type of person where I have my opinions. I might think you're this or that, but I'm not going to out somebody. If you're not gay, you're not gay. And if you are, you are. But it's up to them. to say it. So I'm not going to put that on them unless they say it out of their mouth. I am bi, or I am gay, or I'm straight. So to top Jason off, okay, let's get some more pictures here. And see, yeah, he's just really cute, you know, like he's got a really attractive face. Like Jason is gorgeous, and he's got a really, really nice body, okay? So he's candy. But for me, that's just for me. I mean, I don't want to put that out there because it sounds like I'm putting people down, or I'm saying that they're not attractive or whatever. It's not. It's just my personal preference. I can't do short. I never have, and I never will. I just can't do it. They do say never, but this is one thing I can definitely tell you. It's just never been a thing for me. But I can look at him and say that he is a very attractive man, and that he's very adorable. He's so cute, and I could see the right woman for him, you know. And so here, look at these pics. Actually, I wouldn't think that they would be a good couple, but just by this picture, don't you think just for a second that maybe Jason and Audrey could, maybe, just from this picture, right? Because they kind of look really cute together. They look perfect, and she's short too, so... You know, he's kind of taller than her a little bit. So I think, but no, knowing what we know and knowing who they are, it wouldn't work. But they just look cute together. So that picture, I like that picture. And then here's another picture, last and final at Pride. See what I mean? Like, he's so cute. Jason, I'm sorry, I burped there. Sorry. I'm getting a little, I've been talking so much, guys. This is like a long video. I'm so sorry, but you know, I had to do it. I'm just going with the flow here. Okay, and so last but not least, these are Jason's confessional looks. And like I said, he was almost as bad as Venus, okay? Now this first one, he looks nice and normal. I love the red shirt. He looks cute. I love his little smile. It shows his dimples. He looks very cute. But then we have this. Jason, what is going on here? What is going on? I mean, did somebody dress you? Was this is somebody please let me know that somebody is responsible for this and that you had no choice. Okay, please, because what is happening with this hair? What it's giving is it's giving 70s porn. Okay? We're just missing a line of cocaine sprinkled at the top of the shirt. We have the skinny chain going. We have the bushy eyebrows. We have the big ears. We have the porno, no, like we just, oh God, it's so bad. And then if you think that it can't get worse, look at that. It just got way worse. Look at that. Look at that. Are you fucking kidding me? Are you fucking kidding me? Like, look at this. He looks like Bert, like from Bert and Ernie. Like, seriously, like he really, really does. Like, what is going on? And I mean, my God, we know that you shave your chest hairs, but I mean, this is like an ad for Nair or something, or like hair electrolytes. Like, what is happening? And then the skinny chain with the leopard and the hair, and it's just, now it's gonna get one more time worse, and then it's over. You bear with me? Okay, so the same look, the same leopard, the skinny chain, but now look at this. What happened, Jason? Was the hair that we had before, was that not horrible enough? Now we have to do the fucking swoop, okay? Justin Bieber was the only one that did that, honey. And even he put that to bed a long, long time ago, okay? It's giving horrible. It's just swoop, and it's swooping this way, and it's swooping that way, and it's going under this way, and it's curling up over here, and it just looks like a really bad porno. Really, really bad. Really, 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 really bad. Okay, so Jason, please, don't ever wear this again. Please, please, okay? And my advice for Jason is, I think you're an absolute sweetheart. I really do. I think Jason is a really good guy, deep down. I think he is. And I think that, like Dawson, except maybe a little bit more, because he's giving me a little bit more younger vibes, is I think that he wants an older woman. He wants a mommy. Jason wants a mommy. He wants a woman to cut his fucking steak for him, to wash his clothes, fold his clothes for him, to fucking get his little leopard bikinis ready for the OnlyFans, make sure it's all with no creases and no wrinkles, make sure it's nice and ironed for his OnlyFans. You know what I mean? Like, that's what it's giving. And it's like, you know, so what I would suggest for Jason is, I think he's going to be good in a relationship. I do. I think he would be faithful and all that. And I think he, you know, but he's going to have to find a woman who likes to be in control and who likes to be the mommy, you know, which is sick. But, you know, some people like that dynamic, you know, and there are women that like that dynamic. They like to be in control and be the boss and, you know, in the bedroom and financially and all the areas. And so they're looking for a Jason, you know what I mean? And Jason's looking for that. So I think Jason has a lot of potential to, like, he's going to get scooped up by a woman. He is totally going to, some woman is going to scoop him up for sure. Okay? So he is not going to be alone. All right? Someone is just going to scoop him up and put them in their pocket and run away with him. No, but I really do think he's a sweetheart, and I think he's going to do well. The only thing is that he's not good in a restaurant environment. I mean, he can't serve. He can't be a hostess. He can't bartend. He doesn't know what's on the menu. So do we have a future on the show? Do we have a future at SUR at all? I don't know. I think maybe Jason might get the boot. I don't know. But I mean, as far as life, he's going to be fine. He's going to get a lot of recognition from the show. Girls are going to be all over him. Certain girls. And he's going to make more money on OnlyFans than he ever has, because this is free promotion. So he can just quit that little job at SUR and he can just do his OnlyFans thing. And I think he does have potential to have a real relationship with a girl, with a woman. You know what I mean? And I think that it would work. Unlike Dawson and Shane and Marcus, I think that there are women that want a Jason. They want Jason. They love Jason. And so he's not going to have a problem. That's just So that's my advice. That's my thoughts. And that is my recap for the cast of the new cast of Vanderpump Rules season 12, okay? And guys, I know this was long, but I really hope you enjoyed it, and we might not have another season. So if this is it, then this is it. So then I don't mind it being that long, because we might never get it again. And so, you know, be happy, guys, because this is all you're gonna get. This is your homage, okay? So, you know, if we don't see you on our television screens again, like, hopefully you watch my videos and you see that someone cared about your show enough to be this invested and watch it and break it down the way that I have broken it down. Because I have not seen anyone else on the Vanderpump Rules, not the new cast, you know what I mean? The people don't like it, they're not into it. And I understand it's very hard when you get attached to a certain group of people. I mean, they rebooted Housewives in New York. They rebooted all. It doesn't work, guys. It doesn't work. First of all, we don't know these people. Second of all, they don't know each other. I can write the Housewives right now, and I don't even have to watch it. I can tell you what's happening. I can tell you what's happening on Rhode Island. I've never seen a single episode, but I can tell you what's going on. That's how recycled it's become. That's how unauthentic it is now. Everything is made up storylines. And so with that being said, this is the end of Vanderpump Rules, and this is the end of the reunion, part 2. So thank you guys so much. Thank you for spending your time, and thank you for watching these videos. I really appreciate it. And please subscribe to my channel, Boozy Talk, and go over to Boozy Bitch and subscribe over there too, because I got all my cocktails over there, you know, and you can learn how to make some really fucking good cocktails, I'm telling you. All right, and it's got some good house music to it too. You're gonna love it, all right? And stay here and subscribe here and like this video, like all my videos, and feel free to comment. Don't be shy, okay? I'm not being shy, so you shouldn't be shy. Comment down below. Tell me what you think. Tell me what you think about these folks, okay? Are you an Audrey girl? Are you a Stossely girl? Are you a Dawson? Are you a Jason? You know, talk to me, guys. Talk to me, okay? But stay tuned for Summer House, okay? And thank you guys all for watching. I really appreciate it. And say goodbye to my Midnight. You know, this is my dog. You're going to see a lot of him, all right? Anyway, stay tuned, guys, okay? I love you all, and thank you so much. Cheers. Good night. Bye.
We stumble and fall.